Deforestation and disease is a struggle for survival. Yet the farmer continue to produce in spite of it all. The fishermen, on the other hand, risk their lives daily in a constant battle with the awesome power of the sea. These seafaring warriors continue to farm the ocean in spite of the threats from the effects of pollution. Our farmers and fishermen are really special people, working hard in sun and rain to put food on our table. The fishermen who brave dangerous waters, yes, to ensure the nation is fed. Swimming with sharks and barracudas, yes, to make an honest daily bread. The farmer who's back breaking toil, working long and hard to till the tough soil, fighting the weather and destructive monkeys, and cradle larceny. The fishermen and farmers are really key for food security in this country. With little resources, they accomplish the extraordinary. They are the true heroes, the ordinary heroes. Heaven knows they are our true heroes. Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is Sampolo, represented for the Everything Agriculture Show with DJ X-Ray Yassis and Banky on 2020visionradio.com or 102.1 FM every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Yeah, you know. Stay tuned, stay connected. Lot to love, you know.
Everything natural, everything agricultural. It's a beautiful show with DJ X-Ray and Yason. Banky in the building, 2020 Vision Radio, 102.1 FM, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. It's the girl, Kerry Lopez. And your love from me is unconditional. Your love for me is unconditional. Don't forget, Everything Agricultural Show, DJ X-Ray, Yason, Banky, 2020 Vision Radio, 102.1 FM, every Tuesday, Kerry Lopez representing. Don't miss it.
Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in to 2020 Vision Radio this Tuesday and every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show on 2020 Vision Radio. Tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. So 102.1 FM this Tuesday, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. It's everything agriculture.
Yes, good evening and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show, and it's your host Banky and my co-host Yason Tafari all the way in California. Good evening to the folks on the island of Sweet Ole and Layamiga. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. You could be doing anything else on this Tuesday evening, but you took the time out to spend it with us. I mean, going on 4 years now, so we greatly appreciate it, and to all those who have being a guest on the show, and all the listeners and those on Facebook already, and YouTube, and 102.1 FM. Also those on 2020visionradio.com, Twitch TV, YouTube. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in, and don't forget to share the views. The link, I say, sorry about that. So I'm saying good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Sabre, Statia, Anguilla, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the BVI, the folks over in Montserrat, folks over in Antigua, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, have folks over in Dominica listening. Alia, how you doing? I mean, she was my co-worker, former co-worker. She used to work at Agriculture Department here. Now she's back working for the Agriculture Department in Dominica. So now they have a very good extension officer right there, and very dependable, and definitely have the interest of the farmers. Also, good evening to the folks in the diaspora, wherever you're at in North America, Canada, the folk all the way down to the Florida Keys. Big up my cousin Sherry, those in Atlanta, my sister Joy. The folks over I realize the folks in the US and in England crying out the cold. I forget I'm here in a nice tropical island here, beautiful place, best place in the world to be. And I don't remember it's winter time in some places, so when people showing me pictures wrapped up in a kind of blanket and hoodie and in the house, I say, well, we ain't have no heat. So I'm just doing the heckling, so I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's cold here too, so don't get us wrong. The people here in Nevis is really freezing off in the evening time, so so sometimes you have to probably put a little heat on the stove and stay warm at times. But not as cold as your folks up there shoveling snow up in Boston and different places. So sorry I'm making fun of you guys, but better. Say yes, son.
But stop make joke over about freeze and cold in Nevis, man. What you all about cold and freeze over there?
Boy, we're freezing here. Take it easy.
What you call cold and freeze over there?
Boy, we're freezing here.
Without not even shut on.
And get back on
joke.
Okay, like for instance, right now it's a windy week, eh? It's windy right now, and I went over to St. Kitts to visit a farmer. Me and Mike Brown, a great farmer here also. I'm going to kind of windy for the rest of the week, so it's kind of this water have a light, and you see white squall. You know what that means? Water choppy. So I was happy to go down and just see hustler this morning. Cause I definitely don't want to go down in a small boat because I want to. So enjoy the way I go down and just see hustler. Virgin, I up to the top of the boat, right? I nearly freeze to death. The kind of wind up the blowing, I hiding all up behind by see hustler up and down switching. When they come off the boat, them I laugh and say, yo, this place is cold. But everybody could agree with that. So at least if you have 100 people saying the same thing, it's the truth. You understand? Something within there, but it was all in fun. But yes, good evening to the folks also in England, and and some of our students also in Costa Rica, and those in Taiwan also studying, and in Israel, and wherever you're at, tuning into our voice, whether it's morning, good evening, good afternoon, whichever appropriate. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me say, when I went to St. Kitts, I must say big up Winston Maris. That's one of a very good farmer and also educator, have taught a lot of people throughout St. Kitts when it comes to education and stuff like that, and still also work in the agricultural sector for a long time. Very knowledgeable person, and visited his farm because he wanted to fence, and so he wanted some of my ideas and stuff like that to get his farm fence to keep out monkeys and pigs and stuff like that. So I think we come up with some good conclusion when it comes to electrical fencing and different stuff like that. So plus these are something on the 2025 agenda. The agriculture department should be rolling out and stuff, fencing and all this different stuff, as the PSR talk about. But they will put some more light to stuff like that. So really looking forward to some of the initiatives supposed to be rolled out by both departments, St. Kitts and Nevis. I think I heard the minister up, Eric Evelyn, said they want to plant up to 700 acres of food. I mean, that's very ambitious, but we're still waiting to hear the PSN director rolled out how this is going to pan out and stuff, and not just to meet the 2025 agenda. I'm looking to hear a 5-year plan, and then a 10-year plan, then a 15-year plan, then a 20-year plan. Because I'm looking for in the next 20 years, I tend to look at stuff short-term and long-term. So short-term for me is 5 years, 10 years is also short-term, but long-term is between 20 years, 25 years. That's how I look at long-term. Short-term, 5, 10 years, that's nothing to pass easily. So I'm looking to see. I mean, Mr. Winston Paris, Marius. I mean, his farm is really, really up to par. It's strange when I go to Stinking and I see farmers fencing, farming around each other and no fence. So I just can't comprehend how can the farm without any fence. So and then some of them don't have no drip line. So I'm saying, well, how can it be effective if you don't have water and drip system? If you just is different areas or they depend on relief rainfall. So I can see why everything will be seasonal. Because just the area where I was at over in Maligno, just the breeze coming off the sea up into the hillside, that high wind, well, and I'm not saying it's that every day, but give and take, you will still have some wind on days, but it means your evaporation rate of the water will increase and stuff like that, even if the sun is not out. So you got two things against you, and plus seeing it have a very sandy, loam soil, so it's low, have a high water rate when it comes to losing water. So if you're not mulching a lot and have drip system, it means you're going to lose a lot of water all the time, because how porous the soil is when it comes to drainage. It's not like Nevis where you have a perfect loam soil in some areas and still a clay loam and mix clay itself and some sandy loam areas like over Catesby. Then, but a majority is morely perfect, a nice perfect loam soils which hold and retain more water in a sense. I mean, you walk into his farm and you can pull a potato just like nothing and don't even have to wash them. That can't do that in Nevis, especially in a lot of areas. You'll definitely try to wash and scrub off those soil off those potatoes, sink it. You can just watch it and it come up basically. I'm using my finger and saying, I've seen signs of fruiting with flowering and stuff like that. So I'm saying you have potato ready and stuff like that. So you feel, of course, I mean, showing signs of cracks, so you know to look for. So have a lot of stuff planted. I mean, about 6 to 7 acres of planting, and he's still planting, and also he still have a lot of melon intercropping. He used every space on that farm when it comes to where a drip system is and water is. He put something by so the farm is well utilized and stuff like that. So must be big up my good friend Mr. Winston Morris over there in Maligno, and all the other farmers who they're doing the thing, and those who are in backyard, large farming, and who continue to push the work and provide good, safe, and healthy food for their people. Also, just want to, what agriculture department, I think they're getting some new seeds and stuff like that. So those who are looking for seeds can check Department of Agriculture, and also for whatever nutrients and stuff they're looking for their farm. I think they have a well-stocked varieties of different stuff they have available right now. This evening we're supposed to have, can't say a guest, but let me say a third host, Ras Aya, who is always welcome to be a part of the show. We should be talking about the Buckley's riot. For those who never heard about the Buckley's riot, was an incident, an uprising. I don't like to really use the word riot, because those are those who turn it around when you stand up for your right. Those are the terms they use, and so, you riot. So you're being opposed because of working in the cane field for the owners of the plantation in 1935, so you could just close your eyes and imagine. I grew up in the 80s, and stuff that I think was normal and whatever. Most people have outside bathrooms and the kitchen outside and stuff like that. So that was normal. Going by my friends, my cousins, only go buy 1 or 2 bread and you realize, but wait, well, something different, yeah. You can analyze things. But 1935, I can't even fathom that. I mean, how it was then, so. We got to appreciate, I mean, what our forefathers and our ancestors, them being, because they are still us. We are just them. We are them living in a different time. That's all it is. But some of us get so wise and went to some beautiful schools next to sitting to some of the oppressors. They come back speaking the Queen's language and the oppressor's language so beautifully. They forget who the color of the skin are. You see what I mean? And that is the problem we have here. So the 1935 Berkeley was about change, poor wages. I mean, we ancestors them was working for, and they just wanted to be treated fairly. You work in poor conditions, fighting against the police and the military and stuff like this, and even education you can't even get. And then, it was just, but these things, 1930, and everything surrounded, if you realize, agriculture. You see, the land controlled by one set, but then the next set working the land being manipulated and taken advantage of, and these things ain't stop. This is one of the most, in our time where we live in it, we have modern day slavery, controlled by corporate businesses which control the politicians and the preachers. I call them apart and stuff like that. It's just business. Church charging you 10%, the government charging you 17%, and it's just tax. Then 85% bringing vehicle, 40%. You see all these taxes you're paying every day, all economics. And this economic system really come back, if you go back to 325 BC in the Nicene Conference, when Rome start to take our spirituality and then take a concept and put it into their own context with Christianity and then or between 325, 350, when they take the pictures of the white Jesus and then they start to take that and incorporate and start to charge taxes. Okay? That is when they turn spirituality into a religion and start to charge people taxes. Before that, there was no concept of Lord Jesus and all these things, and all the preachers and the theologians and whoever they have, because I have my literatures and all kind of thing too. I'm one too. I've read the Bible more than I can't even say, because I love to read and been reading the Bible for a very long time, over 30-something years now, and have all kind of different texts and this and that, and whether it's Islam or Judaism, wherever it is, same concept. That's all it is, same concept. There's so much stuff in there, and that is where this high taxation, and from since then also what was going on over in Spain, especially with in Islam, when it comes to the Muslims, those also the Arabs had a big role to play when it comes to our ancestors, but then the Europeans take it up a notch and turn it internationally. That is what happened, taking up a notch. But at the same time, our ancestors already colonized the whole world anyway, so everywhere belongs to us. Because in order to understand your history, you must study everybody else's history along with world history. And that is what I've done, self-educate myself for years. I remember one time I gave my daughter a book to read and she said, "Dad, this book is too much." I said, "You understand? Because these are the information, the people who manipulating you, the politicians, the preachers, all of them reading all this stuff to control your mind. Because that's what everybody fighting for, your mind. Your mind. You see? But you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you know yourself and know your people and where you come from and know yourself, you know your God, yourself within, and watching everybody is in a different reflection. And if you understand that, what these concepts is all about, you didn't even, because money don't mean nothing, Money only can bring you material things. What true freedom is up on the table, those who can feed themselves. I don't care how much money you got, and and that is why you see. And the perfect example with this, we're talking agriculture, but everything that you see around you, within your house, that you have on, is agriculture. Is this earth resource they're using to put things together. That's reality. It comes from the minerals, or some from the soil, or tree, or whatever it is, or oil, and been turned into processing into plastics, and all kind of different stuff. That's all it is, and that's what we're fighting for. And nothing have changed. And next week is the end of the month. We link up with Real Right Entertainment. Big up Alan, Powell, Ira. And we have Woot Up, Jason over in Canada, and have Reese. So at the end of the month, Everything Agriculture and Real Right Entertainment will be linking up live. So their listeners and viewers will get to listen to us, and our listeners and viewers. So. And that's where we're heading in the future when it comes to linking up, because young people need to be a part of this, and they have their views and reason. Because we're moving into the cannabis industry. That the cannabis is sugar, it's a plant, it's cotton, it's a plant. You see, agriculture nothing changed. You see, so it's just different. What changes the crop? I mean, as far as the time remain the same, nothing change about the time. You see, because the people are so mentally, polarized, and it's sad. And that is what our politicians them use against their people, put them against each other. No difference than the churches, because you see so much churches within St. Kitts-Nevis. And I always say any church making over $250,000 a year, they're supposed to have a bank themselves. They're supposed to have a school teaching people about who they are, because you can't sit down to me all day. I go Sunday, Wednesday, Monday night fellowship, men's fellowship, this fellowship, all kind of fellowship, but yet I know nothing about who I am. And you can't teach me nothing about Because everybody who look at themselves must ask simple question, you know. Who you are, where you're doing, where you at this present time, and what's your purpose. You must ask yourself, and also how you get there to where you're at. You must ask them questions. If you're not asking this question, well, you're just going along with the flow and just one of those persons who just don't want to challenge, because there's two type of people you'll find. Those who just going to accept whatever the system tell them. Those, and the next set, those who, they question it, but because they want to protect their wealth or whatever, class them around and drinking wine and whatever it is, I'm not sure you figure it out. They're going to fall back and not say nothing. But they're not around the corner, they must say, boy, them people, they're wicked, you know. I hear it every day. Every day. I mean, I get along with so much people, it's not even funny. And people tell me things every day. So when I speak in for those. I'm not speaking for me, because me personally, I ain't got to be here. Because I just don't know the system, period. Because I know it's up to no good. When I see preachers, I get frightened. Because all I see is just when I went to, all week I've been going to funerals, and last week. And if you saw the preachers that be going on, I mean, sometimes the sermon not even surround the person who is there sitting down. It's just entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And then long sermon to which don't make no sense. Just overboard, and then money. You see, money for what? If the money is going to the deceased family to help, if you have any children or whatever, and grand. But now, church got bills to pay too. Because they're going to say they got paper to print, they got staff to pay. It's just become a business, and you cannot confuse to see it anyway. Because I'm a well-read person, have a lot of literatures, I've read a lot of books. From since me joined the library when they was there up there, so in the library since in the early 80s, early 90s. Me go in the library, I take up books with a lot of books. I can't even count the books that I read. All kind. I remember when they brought the Britannic Encyclopedia. Boy, I went through all them from A to Z, like I don't cast. When I reached high school, Mr. Webb, and I was give thanks to Mr. Webb and Miss Valerie Sargent. Even though I used to like to read, I used to, in Bible school, you pronounce the word them, how you pronounce it properly. So Miss Sargent helped me out on that when I was in high school, got me from this staff room reading and stuff like that. So make me a better reader. But Mr. Webb had said one thing when he started the geography class in the first time. Reading can take you anywhere around the world without leaving this place. He had to tell me that twice. You know what I mean? I always like to read, but then he said, just read what you like. But then I read like all kind of things. So I read varieties of books and collect a lot of different literature and stuff like that. So I'm not intimidated when speaking around anybody. Your PhDs and all these highfalutin, alpha, beta, this, that, Greek things don't mean nothing to me, because if you don't know yourself, you ain't saying nothing. And I ain't going to waste my time with conversation and going back and forth when I do. Because I already know what. By just having starting a simple conversation and you're pushing one thing on me, I already know you're talking about, and that's just what it is. So, but it's to each his own. But I know I remember one time I was in high school and my history teacher teaching me all this wickedness about our history, the Atlantic slave trade, and when those jump overboard and they don't want to eat the first feed them a special chisel. But remember, this time, I mean, I already don't know about these things, because I've been going to the environment, we don't know Europe a long time, so I don't understand European history and world history at the early age, since 12, so I don't understand these things. So I say, so when I think I was in fifth farm, so I say, but are you a Christian? She said, yeah. I said, what? I said, okay, cool. I said, all right. So right there, I not, as I say again, the concept is just taken from our concept, because we always have our, you understand, concept of how we see ourselves and how we put things in perspective. But these people just put things into perspective to control us and for us to look up to them. You see, because if you go to China, Buddha is a Chinese. To Japan is a you understand, is Japanese. If you go to India, Kishma is India. I'm just saying, but if you go anywhere around here, so, well, all you're going to see next Michelangelo, and first thing you're going to hear, in a matter. Well, lucky you. Probably that if it don't matter to you. But you ain't going to telling me, anybody who have a concept, looking at me, you're going to have a concept of a different person. Don't make no sense. And everything you see around here, and you can see, and when you realize a lot of these things, what it bear along upon is just a lot of low self-esteem. You see, if you're gonna do, even if you don't, you know, the kind of stuff that our ancestors been to, chop off hand, chop off foot, tear apart. But the worst we're going to here is mental, because when people know who went to this good school is who manipulating us. Just keep rising taxes on us. Hey, just every day is just taxes,
But
taxes,
Banky,
taxes.
a lot of the information is suppressed and you know, kept in a corner.
Yes.
And that's one of the issues. So even as you spoke about, you know, the education and, you know, education in all these different areas, I tend to think that there also need to be a re-education where agriculture is concerned, so that they too can start to see what they're doing as a business, just like how all these other areas, whether it's church and politics and all these other areas,
Of course.
see what they're doing as a business.
Big business.
Those who are involved in agriculture also need to start to take what they're doing
as a business
and treat it as a business. And I guess it speaks to some of the things that you were talking about earlier in terms of how some of the farmers, you know, don't consider fencing their property, and, you know, and it's all about not seeing it, you know, as a business.
Yes.
And, you know,
yes, and hold your point. Hold your point.
Yeah.
Let me bring in the folks from the CBN network, and you pick up from where you left off. Because
Okay,
I
no
was supposed to call in, because he was in a meeting. So when he finished the meeting, he will call in when he get a chance, and we continue on the Buckley's right. But for now, we could still talk about the Buckley's right until was I had calling. Let me uprising. I think that's the
exactly
right term.
uprising.
Because
Yes.
these are terminologies, those who fight again.
That's one of the things I was about to
twist it
get
out.
into just
I know that, you know. But they just put this thing for us to just see it in a negative, like we do something wrong. You see. But
Right,
there's nothing wrong.
right.
Fight it for your own right to put
Just
it
like
against you. But
just like what they did with Tulsa in
Oklahoma, yes. And okay, let me run this ad and come back.
This 2020 Vision Radio 102.1 FM program is being simulcast weekly on the Caribbean Broadcast Network, heard on CBN Superstation 90.9 FM, Go Loud Digicel app, covering the entire U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and CBN TV on Flow Channel 101 and on CCT TV Channel 291. We do appreciate our U.S. and British Virgin Island listeners and viewers joining us for these informative and entertaining programs on 2020 Vision Radio and 102.1 FM.
Hey, this is man Easy, inviting you to tune in to 2020 Vision Radio this Tuesday and every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show on 2020 Vision Radio. Tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. So 102.1 FM this Tuesday, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. It's everything agriculture.
Yes, good evening, and we are back, and welcome to Everything Agriculture Show with your host Banky and Yason Tafari, all the way in California. This evening we're speaking about the Buckley's riot happened in 1935, about our ancestors them around the time fighting for better wages and the wrong that would be being done to them when it comes to the working of the sugar fields and stuff like that, and the ill treatment they've been receiving for low wages, and especially because they are poor people and those the planter class advantaging them, and because they refuse and asking for a raise and decide they're going to just throw down their hose and, you know, go and ask a question and, you know, just, you know, we need better wages, better pay. We're working, we're producing the work. We're producing the work, so why are you going to pay me? You're making a lot of money, but what we don't. So it's just up until those time, we're still getting and still happening today. So ain't nothing really changed, and that's just what it is. You can see around here, you hear people calling on the different radio shows every day complaining this and that and just all kind of craziness. So I don't understand. I mean, we'll have to complain, huh? That is one thing I realize. We'll have to complain, and I don't into this complaining thing. If you want change, you gotta stand up and demand it. That is how I know things. You know what I'm saying? Talking, and you mean you gotta march, shut down places. That's it. because that is if our ancestors have never stopped fighting. We can't remember, with all this going on for what happened 400 years, we never stopped fight. They not talk about a part. They're going to talk about a lot of stuff they don't talk about. The advantage that happened to the children, there was rape, the male, the woman that been manipulated and raped from her, you understand? It's just a lot been going on. So if we be talking about these things, and what I realize also is, our people feel, kind of funny talking about themselves. I don't get it. You see what I mean? And that's the sad thing about it. You're speaking about your own self and your own history.
Sadly, too, Banky.
Yes.
For me, is every year when this event comes around, it's really like a reflection also for us as a nation. In terms of one, even on St. Kitts itself, where the event took place, but more so even for us on Nevis, because a lot of these things, and even this the stories around this event, a lot of us in Nevis are not necessarily aware of some of these events, as close as we are, St. Kitts and Nevis, because of some of the history between St. Kitts and Nevis, there tends to be that kind of, attitude, well, it's happening over there, okay, you ain't bother me, it's not that. But when I go back and I listen to the history of that event in itself and the historical significance of it, in terms of the fact that it was not something that just happened on St. Kitts, but it was something that sparked a revolution throughout the entire Caribbean as a result of what took place on St. Kitts. And imagine, this is not like in a time where you have like nowadays, internet and Wi-Fi and video phone that, as soon as something happened, you could take a video and send it back, and by whatever means the word got around that this is happening on St. Kitts, it triggered a lot of a different revolution in the Caribbean. And I was listening to also, prior to coming on this program, I was listening to a presentation by Sir Probin Innis, who did a presentation, I think, for the University of the West Indies, in collaboration with the University of the West Indies. He was here on ZIZ back in, I think it's 2005. He was highlighting some of the historical significance of that event, and he spoke to the things like that gave an explanation to some extent for me in terms of why Nevis did not bother to continue to follow up with the sugar cane. And you kind of pointed it out in your presentation earlier when you spoke to the difference in terms of the soil. So it was recognized, and this was something that was recognized even regionally. St. Kitts was in a position where they had most excellent fertile soil for sugarcane, potatoes, and but mainly sugarcane that they were dealing with at the point. And so he spoke to the relevance of that, and the fact that the planters, the average people, were aware of that, and that was one of the reasons why they started to look at even at that point in history, St. Kitts was ready for self-governance. They were not thinking about electing the politicians, to govern them. They were at a point where they were thinking of, being able to appoint their own people who they feel, would have been, their representative to represent them, so to speak. And we're kind of heading to that point even as we talk right now, because one of the talks that we're hearing in modern times as we move towards some of these United Nations agendas is a point where we don't have any more elected officials, where they say that they're going to be determined leadership by what they call predictable. They will have predictable leadership working on the data. That is why they are at this point. Data is everything is data driven.
And while Yason speaking, I want listeners and the viewers to Google the Buckley's uprising in 1935 in St. Kitts, and you can follow and have a read for yourself. Because one of the important thing about reading, when you read something, it's going to stick with you, because you're going to set within your memory bank. sometimes it might drift away, but then once you read it and you read it a few times, so you understand it, you'll never forget it. You read to understand, and then you'd realize date sometimes is a lot of politics. So I realized over the years by doing that research and reading, dates is something that we like to play because sometimes people, depending on who run in the world, they shift dates and shift the maps and change up a lot of stuff, and you know what I mean, geographical lines and so forth. Just so they move, not even want to use the European word. Let me say, Kemet. You know, you can say Egypt, that Greek word. Kemet, they want to shift Kemet out of Africa and put it in Mediterranean Asia, but it's Mediterranean Africa it is. You can't do, you understand? So we have to understand, because we here to, and then when our politicians and our premier and them go over to Kemet, they tell you they're going to the Middle East, and these people are scholars, you know. So if you're bamboozling me, well, how should I supposed to look at you when I know you're playing me, you take me for a sucker, because you're going along with that Kemet is in the Middle East, we're not near Middle East. You see? Because these things was come up within, you know, you understand? To give a certain people a land space. And that's all it is. And the same thing in the Gaza with Israel again. All these things will, everybody just give and take what they want. You see? A certain group of people just love to take because they're told to take and do what they want, and then it's a shame to see brilliant people, you see what I mean, like us, just cowards, and it's hard to say it, but a lot of people, I mean, eventually it ain't gonna be the same all the time, because you can't tell me you have all these resources all over. We have all these resources here. Let's say for cannabis. Man, me not left you go America or Canada, and we're gonna go to herb, you know. But everybody want to come here and go herb to use my resource, use my land, and can tell me I can't follow the guidelines. But me not understand that. From when your guidelines is it? When your guidelines say the number one problem within the agriculture sector is pesticide residue, especially in the cannabis industry. So how these things are perfect and have so much guidelines and still is number one problem? Crap. You see? But we are entitled and believe somebody out there got better grammar than us, so we must always listen to them because of this and that. It's crap, and I always say it's crap, and nobody can persuade me, you know, because I understand the science too. So you can't say me talk nonsense, because you can't tell me all this training I have done. I went in soil science. That Nevis think it have the best soil. Now you want to grow in, you want to come and tell me now I must grow in a different medium like Promix, coconut coir, peat moss, would have no living organism. When my fingernail or your fingernail, look at your fingernail. That fingernail that you see looking at, it could be the pinky, kinky one, you could choose anyone. That little fingernail having over 2.5 billion microbes living in our soil. Smell the soil. Go home, go outside, take up some soil and smell it. One word, tell me how we smell. A lot of places, soil don't have no smell. And when it do have a smell awful. Our soul is alive. Do not let nobody who went to good school, especially the school of the oppressors, tell you anything otherwise. Because it's an inferiority complex, because it's the reality. I mean, I have a lot of family members whose colors the same and I have something, but if you don't know your history, I mean, you ain't crap to me because you can't come feed me some nonsense when you want to hear. I mean, I always maintain my energy and that guy. You're just trying to fit a narrative to be along the caste and the class system. And I don't want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to fit in. Because you see what happened if you check the what do you call it, Hollywood. A lot of people want to go Hollywood, you know. But you see, realize in Hollywood, a lot of things you perceive to be is not what it is. There's a lot of different craziness going on inside there. You see, you saw going on, people offering you a lot of money. You want money? I'll give you $50 million to do a lot of stuff. You want to see how much you want? $50 million? That's just how it is. Some do it for less. This is the reality. You see all of these black actors crying out how their own people treating them. These are the reality. So I know all this thing is come long time, so don't even pay attention to a lot of this stuff. So when they're crying out now, let them know where to get it, but they accept it. You see, they accept these things, and that's why people treat them like that. You gotta leave people alone. Sometimes it's better to just leave. Money is what causes problem. Money don't make you happy. You see, take away a lot of people money and the car and the clothes. And they wouldn't leave. They depressed to jump off a building. Some people had commit suicide when the world had shut down and stuff like that, because it's all about their image and stuff like that. You see? And that's just the reality. And what's going on right now, we got to really be teaching our people right, especially about who they are and how long. It's a shame because you see a lot of this stuff. If you go into China and they talk about the Shang dynasty, the first two, it's us. I wear my dog and hat and all the Chinaman and wherever. I gotta correct people every day because I just wear my hat just to prove a point all the time. Go to sing it, have it on. Oh, Chinaman, this that. You gotta correct people. They don't know who they are. They just everything they see something to figure out, it's China this and China that. Nah, and that's what it is. Everybody else thief our thing. That is the reality. You see? And then they will write it in their own perspective until all kind of craziness, and you go along with it because you don't want to question it. Question everything. When, why, how. Let them ask all of the questions. Ask question. And that's what I tell my children. Ask question. Let them answer. Show your proof. You have to show your proof. Can't be telling me you can't show me nothing. You have to show me the evidence. Can you deal with evidence? Evidence. Grave sites, these. You got to show me proof. You see? You can see everything around you that your ancestors, your Methodist church, you see all these different. I mean, you can put your hand, feel the energy, because those are your ancestors who build those, touch the stones, you feel the energy. But we don't take time and cities like that because we're not connected. We're just all over the place. You see? And we don't understand everything having life and vibrates and carry energy. Put your hands on those stones, those face stones, where you're all defacing your monuments that our ancestors have built into perfect condition where nobody else can build. And you're stealing the stones and selling to all the expats, which nobody want to talk about, because that's what is the truth. You see, people come on here, you deface your own because some expert want to put our face stone off our mills and plantation on their house and this and that. And because you want a few dollars, you go and do all those craziness. Sad again, money. You see? Everything is just money. Everything is money. Sometimes I don't even want to be a part of this system, just want to stay in the bush and just don't even want to come out. And that's just the reality. Because it's just, every time you come out, it's just somebody just, and you understand how upset it's just, most of the thing is just finance. And the system keep putting more pressure on the poor. When we have so much money sitting down in National Bank, in Social Security, in this SIDF, and we're letting all other people coming in to take our money, lending them, but we don't want to build our own. It's today, me and Winston Morris and Mike, we're having this discussion, elders, and me between them having the discussion, and what they're saying is the same thing. So if the elders are speaking like this to a youth like me, well, I ain't blind. I could see it too. But just showing, when I analyze this thing, it's showing nothing changed. And then they put people in position who have the same narrative of them to keep down people. You hear it every day, no matter who in power. It's just pure manipulation and victimization going on amongst our own people. The Everything Agriculture show is about promoting agriculture, and everything that resolves around us is agriculture. So in order to get change, we must talk about what's really going on, and the policy makers is who are going to make the change, but the people have to demand this change. And not because of few benefiting, because there are some people who not be in a position to work on all this different stuff. So because it's like you're giving out, for instance, you're giving out $500, but there's to a lot of people $1,000, and those who really need this ain't really getting it. Because not a lot of elderly people who never work, and they ain't getting it. You see what I mean? So who really cut it, and then no, some of them might just get $100 something, but those are the people supposed to be getting the $500,000. You see? But those, some who get in 5,000, 4,000, still I get 2,000 and the next. So it's a corrupt system. So the money can't punch into this account overnight. Somebody got put it in, or the computer got own brain. They could think. And so, well, yes, I need $1,000, yes, I need 1,000. So the computer could think, and no, yes, I want. It means me have to talk to yes and buy and work with yes, we carry a virgin and whatever. And that's the system we live in. You see? But if yes, I'm going to take up something, yes, I'm going to get locked up. Can you just show you again, we're coming over with, what is this? The integrity in public life. Nobody want to file. You see what the DPP talking about? We're living in a system, we're a corporate world. We're not living, we need to get this thing right and realize. And then one thing I realized also, and I realized this long time, everything is an alliance, lot of alliance. Doctors Alliance, this alliance, that Arcan Alliance. Once you're in a room and we're around a lot of certain people, they vex because people want to be around them too. I ain't want to be around nobody, so I hope nobody upset with me. Cause I like to be around people, man. I ain't afraid to say I'm antisocial. I'm antisocial because of what I know. I've read a lot. I know you can't be trusting people. But you can't trust people look like you. Must trust other people. And I teach my children the same way. Just analyze people. Don't trust people coming out in different ways. And that's just how I try to tell the youth and them. And I keep telling them the same. And I speak the same all the time. Because you would not know people, everybody have an agenda. They're coming out in different names. They come and they not help. They're just coming out in different names. That's just reality. And that is all this coming on the Buckley's riot. So you see, just talking about the Buckley's riot, you see, because it's us. That is the reality, is us. But Yason, let me, for those, I'm not sure if anyone find and doing it, but let me give a brief reading on the Buckley's riot, the Buckley's uprising. I see here is a Buckley strike, 28th January 1935, and that was the timeline. All right. In 1934, December, the Wade Estate paid their workers a Christmas bonus of $8. What is D? Dollars per ton? This supposed to be dollars, right? Yes, sir.
No, maybe.
All right. Let's work with dollars. $8 per ton of cane cut. Other estates paid only $3 per ton. Some estates refused to pay any bonus to their workers. 1935 January, there were cane fires on several sugar estates near Bastia. 1935, 20th January, estate workers from all over the island attended the Universal Benevolent Association, which is, I think their union should be, meeting called by its secretary, Joseph Nathan. He advised them that since there would be no increase in the price of the cane for the 1935 crop, the planters would not be in any position to give a wage increase, and that the wages in the force in 1934 should be accepted. This advice was disappointing to some of the workers, and left the meeting saying that the UBA had been bribed. So the workers then realized, okay, you see, some was paying get an increase, some didn't, and then some decide don't stick with it now, give them the increase or would and the increase. So workers ain't happy about that, and plus it was in December they expect a bonus, get it. You see what I mean? They still want to increase, so manipulating the people. All right. Meanwhile, Thomas Manchester attempted to persuade the estate owners to institute an annual bonus and to make the agreement public before the start of the crop. However, the planters refused to commit to this idea. And we continue. 1935, 20th January, cane cutters at Buckley's estate asked the manager, EDB, Dobridge, for wages of CMD per ton. Dobridge refused, and the workers went on strike. The strike marched to Shadwell Estate and persuaded the workers at the estate there to join them. By noon, the marchers numbered between 300 and 400 arrived at Brighton. Mules and cattle which were harnessed were taken out, and the gear damage to prevent and use being made of the carts. Okay, so the man started to mash up things now. Man, they're getting serious. That is a part of you.
Well, not necessarily mash up, but they were just trying to make sure that, you can move and detour and go make no other move.
Of course.
Either come on board or you ain't come on board.
Well, orchestrated. You have to join us. That's the whole point. So
you either come on board or you ain't come on board.
That's it. Yes. Okay. So I'm left off. Okay. Yeah. In the early afternoon, the march had reached Lodge. The owners, Philip Todd, informed the approaching workers that they were trespassing and told them to leave. Todd was struck down, but he called for a shotgun. The marchers attacked him, broke his gun, beat him, and forced him and his servants into the house. So you see, now back down. So we are peaceful people. So this telling a story that it means we are willing to sacrifice our lives for better for our children. And this is what this story is telling you. When you're reading things, you got to analyze things and understand details. So you got to write a story for yourself. You cannot let other people write your narrative. You cannot put it in a way make it seem like you are the problem. You see? So when stuff like this happen now, so you call it a riot. You're fighting for your rights. You're going to it, and then you're going to pull a shotgun. Well, you see, then back down. Then take your own shotgun from you, beat you, and go and take you in the house. And many of this happen for hundreds of years. And these are why everybody fears us, because they know we don't back down. You see, and these are the reality. These are what the bloods that run through your vein. All of us listen to our voice throughout the Caribbean. We're the same people.
But one of the things
yes,
that should be highlighted and pointed out also
yes,
is the fact that there is no intent to kill or murder.
of course not.
Them, as you realize,
Of course.
they took the gun and mash it up.
Of course.
Then they use it and shoot him and kill him.
That's the whole
They
point.
mash it up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He got beaten here.
Well, yeah, the
because
beating is
you
important,
plan
of
to come
course.
out and kill us.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But hey, behave yourself and just chill out in here until we get this thing sorted out. We ain't really want to kill you. We ain't really want to hurt you. We just want what we want. And, you know, since you're trying to be bad and, you know what I mean, rebellious, okay, hold on.
Yes. So you continue here at Willie T's. Where is that? That's the kind of Willie T's. Some people pronounce it Willie Keys. I used to hear about Willie Keys, but is Willie T's. That's the right pronunciation. But you know, we speak dialect bad and stuff like that. You know, we ain't thinking it's Willie Keys. We just say Willie Keys. Where is that, your son?
Me ain't sure.
All right, but the right is Willie T's. So you see how the dialect will have you speaking and pronouncing stuff.
Maybe somebody from St. Kitts who might be listening might be able to give us some correction in that regards. Maybe Willits. I don't know if it's a place named Willits. You know what I mean? May know. So somebody might be able to figure it out. Yes.
Okay. The overseer was seized and ordered to produce a bill so that the working gears of the cars could not be disabled. Major Duke and 8 armed policemen overtook the march at Estridge and arrested 5 of the leaders. The crowd then numbered 200 to 300. It was expected that following the arrest it would be dispersed, but Major Duke was instructed to keep his men on the alert. 1935. So you see this going on for a couple of days now. If you realize this is something that a couple of days going on, it's not this no one day thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
These people can we consistent. We just consistent every day. We continue in this thing. We need change. I mean, this generation have to change. So within this time, remember, I mean, in the schools like that and stuff. You see what I mean? It's just like it was really, really bad them times there. You had no proper hospital, lighting and all kind of stuff were really, really bad. But a lot of people making money still. Because cane got to be shipped out. Well, everybody cane going. Have to go somewhere, England. You see what I mean? For them to drink the tea and all these different fancy stuff, whatever. And they come down and
make them raw, man.
Of course. You see? So we build those places and then you still hear about the windrush, they want to send them back down. You see? Just pure manipulation and disrespect all the time. Okay? All right. So now back in 1935, January 29th, very few workers reported for work, except at Estridge and Bellevue Estate. Another large demonstration took to the road and headed west. At Sadler's and the martyrs stopped outside a shop and ordered a laborer, Jonathan Moore, to join them. When he refused, he was struck on the head with a metal pipe. I'm not sure if I agree with the one day, but you know, somebody get upset because the guy want to join, or when the worker don't want to join, but I mean, everybody, it's all hands on deck. That's what they try to show you. All hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? You got to come. Let's go.
Let's go.
At West Farm Estate, workers were ordered to down tools. At 3 p.m., a large crowd invaded Buckley's yard. Durbridge attempted to warn them off with his shotgun. He fired, hitting some of the demonstrators with pellets. You see the difference now? Durbridge firing his shotgun with pellets in it. Whether it's pellet or water coming out of a gun, hit hard. You see what I'm talking about? And it's not like our ancestors them had on part of it with clothes and this and that and bulletproof vest and all this different stuff to protect them. They mean they're getting hit.
And they ain't had no matchet, nothing either from what I understand. They just stick and stones.
Well, that's the whole point. Okay? The crowd became infuriated. The police arrived on the scene and the strikers demanded Durbridge and Pond his overseer be arrested for shooting at them. At 5 p.m., Major Duke left the area to report to the governor. He requested the deployment of the Defense Force and the Defense Reserve. So now, this is getting serious now. You see what I mean? Within that line frame.
Yeah, because from what I understand at that time, the police and the army or whatever they were at that time, they had weapons, but they didn't have weapons with shots.
Yes.
It was only the defense force at that time would have had loaded weapons.
All right. So, the defense force is calling up, and even the reserve now. Things getting serious.
The reserve.
Yes.
Yeah.
So things getting serious. So now we're getting more serious now. So meanwhile, Magistrate Bell went into Bastille and returned with Reverend William of the Moravian Church, Thomas Manchester, and Victor John of the Workers' League of Clement Malone, a member of the Executive Council. The crowd listened to Manchester plead for order, and many left with him, but significant numbers still remain. Yes, sir, we have a call coming in. This might be Ras Aya. Let's see what's going on here. Carlo, good evening.
Greetings and love.
Yes, sir. Agwaetiti King.
I give in thanks. How the night I go forward in the program?
Well, just leading the way forward, reading up for those who don't know about the Buckley's uprising. So Yasin and myself, we're going through some literature and for the listeners.
Just come out of the meeting too far, so thanks a lot for doing that vitally fine.
So I'll let you know how far I reach when it comes to I reached as far as where the Magistrate Bell went into Bastille and returned with the Reverend William of the Moravian Church and Thomas Manchester, and trying to talk to some of the workers to leave and and stuff like that. So that's how far as
you're doing good. You're doing good.
So here we have Ras Aya on the line, another host, our cancer guest, Article Virgin, who is here to share knowledge and push it.
Listen night to your brother Yasan.
Yes.
And to the host, Brother Banky, and to all the listeners via radio and internet of Vision Radio 2020. And we are talking as we right now as the essence for the celebration of the 89th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising. Just come out of a meeting for the committee that is established from since last year. We are looking to do some work in laying out some format to do something coming to setting out goals and objectives to enhance for the committee for this year coming to work within the projection to make sure that as stated by the minister, who is the representative in that constituency area, the Honorable Connis Maynard, that will have a memorial park in commemorating for the Buckley's Uprising. But we deny BRGIE taking the initiative in a different light still with that objective. I would like to see the national aspect of our people be recognized as national heroes and heroes, and the education system or the curriculum be informative to have the Buckley's Uprising being a part of the curriculum. And we have the event itself be a national holiday, marking that's the 5 pillars we want to impact within this administration and whoever administration along within the development of our people coming towards this historical movement that takes place in 1935. So I just like to lay out that here for
yeah,
but the Banky,
yes,
I'm going to another movement right now, so let me call you just to inform the public that this Sunday, the 28th of January, we'll be celebrating, commemorating the uprising of what took place in 1935, and we'll be honoring 3 awardees to commemorate on the 89th anniversary. And within the 3 awardees, we're looking at 3 who are being pioneers within the Workers' League that established in 1932. And that was able to bring out into the 1940s prior to taking up into trade union being established in the 1940s, and then you see in the 1950s there's the suffrage coming to harm the area fine. We could see how people start being agitated to have a right to vote in the election that now is taking place as a part of our government service,
Beautiful. So one of the things always have me thinking is why that area haven't been set as a national park, and of monuments and so on, the survivals. 'Cause this incident is almost similar to, as I put this thing to, as far as I see, because I don't understand why our leaders and policymakers.
So one of the things I would like to say, Banky,
yes,
man, I'm here. One of the members of the committee who we just come out from within the advising committee setting for commemorating. We find it very difficult and disregarding to see for that historical aspect.
Yes,
they should have done lay a foundation like as well you just said. They should have done have monument depicting the struggle of what our people went through. Yeah, and but it's still going through because we're still in a struggle.
Well, look how easily it is to erect a full-size statue of Alexander Hamilton. Something is wrong with us, boy. Trust me. Nothing is so easy. These things you have to accept these things, you know. This is what I mean. You don't have to accept these things, but you accept it. You see? These are things. Yes, I.
One of the things, right, what we got to understand is, as we look at the history of,
yes,
as we are highlighting what is happening here with the Buckley's uprising and revolution, the folks who were the revolutionaries were fighting the same oppressive system that these people who up to this point is not necessarily taking these actions that you are suggesting in terms of, you know, doing these things for the people who had that fight.
Okay,
so even though these people come up from amongst us,
yes,
even though these people were coming out of the ancestors of these same people who were a part of this Buckley's uprising, they mentally represent the monarchy, and so they are not seeing it from our perspective. Because if they were, then all of these things that we're talking about up to this point, even if they need to go and pay off whoever these people who own these lands right now, yes, pay them back, give them their money,
yep,
you know, relocate them. Just like how if they want to build an airport right now, if they want to do something right now, look how they're expanding the airport.
The same thing they're doing.
And they said that they're going to acquire these properties from these people. But they could do the same thing, acquire the land and take it and make a national park. If
yeah,
they
but
really want to not just talk.
One of the problem is what I've realized, and this is why I don't look at things carefully. I always follow the money. A lot of the experts them have the business involved, putting in money into a lot of politics in Kitts-Nevis. So when you take people money, they control what goes on the island, and that ain't supposed to be. You see, I got a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? No expert's supposed to put no money. I mean, we can't tell them to put in the money now, but they can't have no say when it control how the way the country should go forward, because them are determined. When we start taking people money, these are the problem I observe going around here, you know. And others seeing it too. Well, you see? And this is why
part of that problem.
Yes.
At this point,
yes,
we are having the issue. We having the issue of them having a problem in filing what they own themselves.
Well, they can't, right? Because let them know they're gonna wait.
Well,
that's the whole point. You see, we can't take people money.
So you're not gonna get that from them, Banky.
Well, it's not me and you, you know. Is how much people in Kitts-Nevis? 45 in Kitts, 15 in Nevis. Is this ain't having to do with me and you, you know? It's having to do with all of us who is of the soil. Because you see, when I'm traveling, you hear the conversation on the plane with the experts and them. Oh, I'm going home. Sometimes I ask, well, where's home? Kitts-Nevis.
So, Banky,
you understand? So I'm saying.
Remember, we got to solve the problem of who is the campaign funders.
Well, that's the whole point.
And so until we know who they are, then we can't say
yes
that, you know what I mean. So until we put a mechanism in place, and that's why I was using the example of if they're not even wanting to deal with what they own themselves and make it public, because they're public officials and it should be public. They don't even want to say who funding the campaign. And so these are some of the issues and problems that we have. So, but anyway, we got Rasaya and then we get Rasaya's perspective, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I
continue.
Just to say in what Yasan was just summarizing, and it's very factual to see, well, these are the things that we're facing up to this time. And one of the things that we find we need to really sample and put into full aspect of our people is recording what the value of the history really before, as our struggle and how we people have penetrated to bring changes in our aspect. And now we see changes in that we find the economical field have gone far than what the ancestors have fought for. So these are things that we will have to take in the measurement in lining our strength in the unison that we have in bettermenting for the young ones then, because the future is at hand and the future needs to be safe within what this information is about and the historical aspect of what it will drive to reawake the region, not just Kitts-Nevis, but the region, because that be able to enhance changes where other countries realize our stand that we take in 1935 to our ancestors. So we say we salute our ancestors for the great, tremendous stand that they take without any fear or favor. They know their life would have been out at hand, but they were willing to put it to that detail to find changes and emphasis of what the condition they were facing. Not by just money, but the living condition, the sanitary condition, the way how we get food preparation to our healthy needs. Because at that time, infirmity rate was very high to our black people at them time. So we find our children were dying at a primitive age young too. So it was very critical and our wrongs to see our ancestors to point out and say, no more. But some of the things that were really come to the course of getting a betterment at that time, but at least they had some voice really guilty against what they faced up towards these challenges in the 1935. So I thank the sacrifice of the ancestors then. We have a team, but I would just say the team is based on how our people have been able to say celebrate with our martyrs who have bring forth our history towards for the human rights. You see, because the martyrs them who had died in that time, they were able to fight a purpose. Some of them was targeted who was not even in the proceeding. Like John Allen, he wasn't a part of the uprising. He was a worker of the sugar factory. He returned from the sugar factory working at that time. But the comments come into the area where he riding his bike in that time there. So he get a shot, kill him right on the scene of that time. He had to go home, you know. Now, Joseph Samuel was targeted as being Joseph Matthew Sebastian, that's the former Governor General Monteville Sebastian, Cuthbert Sebastian father. So these are details, and then you got James Archibald. So these are people who got to really, and then we have the ones them who get arrested, like Simeon Prince, and he had others who get arrested and those who get injured. So these are things we have to frame up to make our people have an understanding and a clear view of what the sacrifice and the struggle really meant, and why we people have to be respected of those who make that sacrifice through the struggle for our human rights, because we're still facing having a lot of our rights being violated, even in the political spectrum and in the social spectrum of our people around us. So we say thanks, and this Sunday coming up, we'll be at the Buckley area, but we'll be in the middle of the street in Buckley, operating for our ceremonial area of commemorating, and every year we lay a wreath in commemorating of our ancestors. So that is what we will be doing again this year.
Yes.
And we'll be able, as we said earlier, having 3 people getting honorary plaque. Because we see it fitting that we have to honor those who sacrificed for night to be here at this time.
Those who are honoring, you mind saying the name?
Yes, we say we have Thomas Manchester. He is one of the pioneers in the Workers' League, alongside with Joseph Matthew Sebastian. He was another pioneer in the Workers' League. And then we have Anthony Robiero. He was a part of the labor movements after in the time of the political spectrum, but we just use that avenue for the time being.
Okay.
But in the next year's setting for the 90th anniversary, we'll have the remainder of those who were pioneers within the Workers' League to be honored within that movement, and continuing and following years, we make sure you honor those who were injured. So family who are part of these people who will get injured and who were killed, who were able to get jail, and so we make sure we see the time come for them to be respectfully honored as part of our heroes and sheroes in our midst of the 1935 Buckley Uprising.
Well said, yes, I am.
Give thanks. And bless everyone to the program and good farmer bank. Keep up the information because this is what I did tell them when I come out of the meeting. You have to make sure not just Buckley be insistent, but the whole entire island of St. Kitts be effective. And I even say we have to include Nevis so that they can have a sense of the history.
Yes, but
so
remember, this also had a trickle-down effect throughout the Caribbean also,
yes,
and other plantation. Remember, a lot of great things happen here in St. Kitts-Nevis.
Just prior of that same 1935, countries after like Trinidad and Tobago, them start making the rise up towards of the same plantocracy.
Exactly.
So, and Jamaica and them other places. So,
yes.
And Belize in particular in the central area of Americas, and we have in the South Americas, and then even sprang up to America. So we're saying that these are value history because we could look back at the 1896 Portuguese uprising that was taking place in the time when the Portuguese them now want to comment, just like how similar like with this one in the 1935. So just a few years after, in 1896 and 1935, you see the comment, and then in 1834 of the abolition of the slave trade, they signed the proclamation, and 101 years after, we're still in a worse condition than what we were as prior to, as they say, slavery in them time. You see, because 4 years after the proclamation, remember they gave us apprenticeship, Apprenticeship meaning we learn in a trade, which with another trade, we all learn a trade.
well, that's the whole point. Knowledge is bringing that program for you to work back for them.
It's a mystical thing we just have to look at and say.
That's all it is.
The value of our struggle have to be with core and with sound within our young ones, them that they can have a sense of pride and dignity within who they are and where they come from.
And that's going to start by writing your own history books. That's the key.
Right. That's right. So, yes, and blessed love.
One of the things that has to be done as you all continue this movement and celebration is to help to dispel that word that they're using in terms of a riot, because from a legal standpoint, the word riot have a different definition for them in legalese, and so we calling it a revolution, uprising, but revolution, because when you put it as a riot, it makes it seem as if the people were doing something bad and they were doing something terrible, when the reality is they were just standing up for themselves against an oppressive system, which up to this point still is the same oppressive system that is manipulating us.
Of course.
These things have a lot of different implications, my brethren, because as we look at the argument now of becoming a republic, taking that next step in terms of independence and so on, there's some who don't see the need for that, or some are making those kind of arguments. But sometimes if they're supposed to look back at where we are coming from and how they were able to weaken out, what the mechanisms that they use to weaken out that sort of revolutionary spirit. Because like when I listen to Sir Pobin Innis and his contribution to this same Buckley's revolution, he spoke to some of these same issues. And so these
in that same book you were referring to, I put an outline on that book there and say the thing that he recorded and referred within, if he outlined the book as 40 years of struggle, because joined to that conclusion of his immigration towards what was taken, he realized the condition wasn't really the photo of what we people face, because even after when Bratcher them get into the adult suffrage, and when they start having the legislative approach of having a black leader instead of white leader, we're still under the same colonial concept. So the movement was still on the struggle content of how we can maneuver that changes coming forward for the possibility of what our ancestors set out. As you say, revolution.
Yeah, because one of the things that was pointed out with support in Innis was the fact that the people of St. Kitts at that point were ready to govern themselves. They were in a point where they were not talking about getting nobody.
I'm here.
For them.
Yeah, so I would just say give thanks for letting I get a whole sound on the airwave.
Beautiful.
I'm going to do right now a short clip to have a news release for tomorrow for the media house.
Okay.
And then tomorrow I have the opportunity to go to the George Moody Primary School. That's they call the factory school. Where I could go and engage to the youth them up there about the celebration of the Bucket of Rising and what the details of the Bucket of Rising meant to us as a people of St. Kitts-Nevis.
Beautiful.
And we are the part of the region of our Caribbean shores. So we're thankful for you and Yasan to be able to dialogue this message out as most as we could, because it's not just for I and I as in I being the but other people who can play the political role in sharing the info for what's taking place of the uprising. So the reading, what you're reading is very vital. I give thanks.
I appreciate it. I'll finish up the reading when we get off the phone.
Keep up
the good works. I bless. All right. And that was Aya giving a brief overview of what went on when it come in the Buckley's uprising. So let me start back from where the magistrate get involved, and then can you just a few more paragraphs, and we finish on that, and then I'll call out the name of those who get shot and those who get injured. So I'll finish up right now. All right, let me start back at the magistrate getting involved. All right. Meanwhile, Magistrate Bell went into Basti and returned with Reverend William of the Moravian Church, Thomas Manchester, and Victor John of the Workers' League, and Clement Malone, a member of the Executive Council. The crowd listened to Manchester's plea for order, and many left with him, but a significant number stayed behind. The Defence Force and the Defence Reserve, the latter carry live ammunition, were dispatched to Buckley's estate. So you see, Defence Force and the Defence and the Reserve coming up with live ammunition now. All right, at 6 p.m., the governor asked that a warship to be sent to sink it from Bermuda and request reinforcement from the police force in Anguilla. Well, they have here Riot Act, but we're not asking about Riot Act. We use our own terminologies. The Revolution Act, God, that's what you see, they put Riot Act. But that's what they said they're talking now, you see? That's what they put things on the Riot Act. People protesting for their rights, and they're talking about Riot Act, to show you. All right. So stones were thrown at the armed forces. From 6:15 to 7 p.m., the armed forces attempt to direct the crowd away from Buckley's onto a main road. The police were unable to control the crowd, and after repeated warning, shots were fired, 3 men were killed, and 8 wounded. At 9:30 p.m., all was quiet. 1935, 30th January, at 2:30 a.m., the Lady Nelson arrived in St. Kitts with additional men from Anguilla. Warship coming in, all right? Okay. The morning, large groups of men were still calling out the workers' strike. Cane fields in the vicinity of Bastia were burnt. 1935, 31st January. So you see stuff still going on. Warship come down, and says them still a fight for what they believe in. Whether you shot people, they ain't gonna, it's still a protest. All right. 1935, January. What's this? The HMS Leander arrived in St. Kitts. Okay. The victim of the 1935 labor riots. Okay, then boom boom dead. So you have those who are dead: Joseph Samuel, John Allen, and James Archibald. Those are the 3 men who got killed, and those who injured. You have Alfred Rogers, Cyril Tyson, same as a family member, you see, just in the genes, defending, all right. William Fowle, you have Samuel Woodley, Ellsworth Selkridge, Charles Movin, Olive Allen, Virginia Guio, that's how they pronounce that? Not sure. And Joseph William. So, if you haven't read up about the Buckley's riot, I mean, I think you should take some time, and these are stuff, I mean, I've been to primary school, high school, and none of this was taught to me. None of this. So, you see, so when I'm in high school, I'm going to the library and reading them all about European history and all these different stuff, and that is where I start finding myself. You see what I mean, at early age, guys, growing up with my uncle Mansa, who is a walking historian at an early age, going out, that's all, it's just history, Mansa is just history. You see what I mean? History. Yes.
I see you. I see you slip up a second there. You got to remember, ain't no riot.
Well, that's what I said. They said the riot act. So I say revolution. That's why we place that.
Yeah, when you say riot, you say riot, and when the people, I just correcting you and the masses too, because when the masses say riot, what you have to understand is then that mean you take on their narrative.
Of course.
For them, they claim it a riot.
Yes, because the riot act. You see, can they have the act?
Justify the actions.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
right.
that's the narratives, you know.
The actions, but it was more of a revolution. It's standing up for your rights.
Yes.
But in order to justify what they did
of course,
to the people, they call it a revolution. So when you they call it a riot.
Well, is it so
when you agree,
yes.
when you use that language,
yes,
then that means you agree with them that it was a riot, and so their actions in terms of shooting these people
is justified
and doing what they did was justified.
Of course.
So these are things that we have to be careful with, and these are some of the manipulations that they're using on our people.
Yes.
In terms of the spell, the language, the
legalese, but stuff like this,
the terminologies that they use.
So this is why we got to write our own history. You can't have other people writing these things, you know, and that is the sad thing. You see what I mean?
And also when we share the history,
yes,
we correct these things.
That's the whole point.
The narrative.
That's the whole point
for the future generation, so that the future generation now could have a whole different picture.
Yes.
Of it from our perspective.
And
because if you get the story only if you're getting it from the hunter,
yes, of course,
you get a whole different story than from those who were hunted.
Yes,
and these are some of the scenarios, you know. So like, you know, that is similar to what they did with Tulsa, the Tulsa story in America, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Of course,
they use people standing up for what they did, because this was a community, was all.
Yeah, but this was Black Wall Street. This was like Black Wall Street with everything business.
Street, yeah.
When they burn it down, they bomb it.
And
they
bomb it up and blow it up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Say that the people were rioting.
Yes.
You know, and they use that same terminology. They say it was a riot, and that's what they use to justify their actions. They claim that it was a riot. You know, so these are some of the things that, you know, we really have to look at as a people, you know, and how our people still at this point is not acknowledging. I mean, like last year, I was listening to last year's presentation of this Buckley's Uprising, the commemoration, and one of the things they were talking about is the fact that they had to be commemorating this in the middle of the street. They had to be in the road.
Of course.
Because they ain't have the land set aside yet for this, and they talk about, you know, making this day a national holiday. And some of these people who were as a victim of this tragedy become national heroes. And these are serious things. I mean, they're not too hard to ask for, but when you realize who you're asking to make these things a reality are the same people who you were opposing, because these same people, even though they look like us,
mm-hmm,
and come from the same household as us, we realize that they're representing the same system, the same Westminster system that passed this uprising, as a matter of fact, is still oppressing us. And so that is why, for me, when I hear people talk about the argument, oh, it's just a ceremonial thing to remove the president, and I find this ridiculous that we're taking over $1 million that we had on tax dollars to pay for a governor general and a deputy governor general, as they claim, for just symbolic representation. Well, why should I want a symbolic representative of somebody who was oppressing me? Why should I pay out of my taxes when, even when you got independence, you got no money, you got no money from these people who you claim that you are still upholding and pleading allegiance to? They gave you nothing. You got absolutely nothing to build your nation. And then when you're done build your nation, you still taking your money that you have to tax your people them so hard for, to pay over $1 million to have a governor general and a deputy governor general who is, all they do is that they are the representative of King Charles, because King Charles can be in all of his territories. So this is the representative of King Charles. That makes sense?
Yeah, so why don't King Charles pay for them? Why don't he pay for them?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But why don't he pay for them?
So foolish we are. We sit back and we are allowing these things.
He's supposed to pay for all of them then.
Problem with this.
Since that is
and then
the pay for them.
The argument about the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the parts of the argument that is not being brought forth is the fact that the president don't necessarily have to be just a ceremonial president. You could have a president structure similar to the American structure, where the president is actually active and executive president, with the president, but that would mean that the president would have more power than the prime minister and the premier. And I guess that would not be something that they would want to push and argue.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also a possibility. But these are some of the arguments and debates and so on where this is concerned that needs to be brought to the people. But even on that level, there is some disagreement on that side where I hear the prime minister on one hand saying before he leaves, before his term ends, he made that public in when he was in England some point earlier on, I think it was around King Charles' inauguration or something. He said that before his term ends, he's going to be pushing for the Republic. But on the Nevis end, we're hearing a pushback saying, well, they don't see that is important and significant and, you know what I mean? And so, but at this point still, there is no push from those in authority to even engage the public in these kind of discussions and debates that we are having so that we could have these kind of things brought up and not moving as if it is a sovereign cabinet because that's how it is, This is democracy. And the sense of democracy that it is that, yes, you vote people to go in to represent you, but then these people who claim to represent you, when they go in cabinet, they make rules, they make laws and rules and regulations that benefit them, not necessarily you. And so in a case like this, even to move towards a republic, that would be something that is done in the House. And for a president, if all of them agree that they only want a ceremonial president from the cabinet side, then we don't have a say, technically, because we already vote them there to represent us.
Yeah, but
so these are the kind of little technicalities that they use to do the shenanigans and what we sit back and allow.
Yeah, but Yason, I think in this time, let me say, I appreciate those who tuning in and sharing the live and to different people and stuff like that. Also, if you want to be a part of the show, the telephone number is 469-7953 or 669-7312 or 1917-460-2187. And you see, it's important. And I want to big up Sylvie and Henry. She usually over the years you'll hear us have a talk about and take part in the discussion on the radios and stuff like that about the Buckley's uprising and all these things. But you don't really hear a lot of people take part in the discussion. I don't think, excuse me, they think it's significant, or they don't want to talk about the past because they figure, well, they're living a nice lifestyle and all these things, so forget about the past. Only we as a people have to say forget about this and forget about that, And if you realize it, everybody else preserve. Yes.
If you realize also, it is only the Rastafari community who has been pushing this agenda for all these years. If it wasn't for the Nyabinghi, Tiakosi and St. Kitts, this would not have been an issue. So it shows you still that I'm showing you that it's the revolution is a revolution. It was a revolutionary move.
Hold the point, yes,
son. That opposed.
Hold the point.
Yeah.
Carlo, good evening.
Greetings.
Yes, greetings.
Extending to the other brethren, give thanks for sharing so far. We are in tune.
You give thanks.
Concerning the Buckley happening. Yeah, we know the description and yeah.
Yes,
That's the way to go.
So as an elder, your feedback?
Beg pardon?
As an elder and historian, your feedback on the Buckley's uprising to present time for where we have over 80 something years from since it happened, your feedback on that?
Okay. Feed forward in my head right now is that the sacrifice that was made at that time, 1935, where we are right now, we are according to the Western Gregorian calendar, 2024. That is how much years? That?
Almost 90 years.
Let me
about 89. Like almost 90 years, about 89, something like that.
Somewhere there. 4 score plus.
Yes.
All right. And when we really look at the mindset of the masses of the people, the sacrifices that was made for the opening up of the masses, what they call the working class,
Yes.
The lower class. But they divide us in classes, you know. Even though all of us pack up like human can go on them time, they divide us in classes. Low, middle, upper.
And caste too. Not
Beg
just
pardon?
classes and caste system. Don't forget the caste system.
Seriously.
Yes, I.
When we look, those sacrifices was made so that the lower class live better, you know.
Yes, I.
And when we look at it, that is not so up to the time. It is not so up to the time.
So we're still fighting then?
Yes, the struggle continues, and the level of the struggle, it should have been on a different level up to the time. And another thing, and there's a twofold reason to that. The masses, they are fast asleep. And the people within authoritative decision-making position, they are pussyfooting
Yes.
to do the things that ought to be done, so that the struggle can be at the level where it ought to be as a people. Yeah. That's it in a nutshell.
Beautiful.
Give thanks to the sharing.
Of course, and really appreciate your input.
Bless his love.
Bless it. Yes, son, you there? Yes, let me
Yeah,
say.
man, definitely. And the argument that they make is, you know, they will act when the people agitate, you know,
Of
or if the
course.
people agitate enough. And that's the kind of argument and premise that a lot of these guys move on. And as the Virgin as you talk about dividing the people, that is also still a part of the shenanigans and the mechanisms that they have used
Yes,
to
sorry.
keep down this sort of revolutionary spirit in the people. So the politics of, you know, dividing, you know, this party, because when you look at it, even if you break down the politics as it is right now, you have government who are, sorry, because we are the government. You have parliamentarians who make up the present cabinet, and you have parliamentarians who make up the opposition. But then when you listen to them, you hear her, well, no, it's not her anymore, but it's His Majesty's opposition. And His Majesty's opposition is also being paid from the same coffers, the same taxpayers' coffers. So it's one bird and two wings, as they would say in America. Even you got the Republican and the Democratic.
Yes.
It's one bird, but it's two wings. You understand? So they're still tied to one system. So they represent
Same
one
thing.
system, because
Of course, same thing.
the opposition is still also going to pay allegiance to King Charles
Yes.
the third. Is here, then he's his and his successors. So they represent a system that is not of the people. So it is not of their interests. It's not in their best interests to push that agenda, to really seek to empower the people, because doing that for them is a threat to them, because that means the people are going to realize, wow, this is what we really needed to do. Come together and do we own thing and don't take on these people here, because these people here, you understand? So
Of course.
it is not in their best interest to push that sort of agenda. However, it should be the best interest of the people to maintain the struggle and maintain that recognition of the struggle and those who would have lost their lives, those who would have been injured. And it is imperative that the government take serious action in terms of creating that park or that monumental space where it could be revered and you know, taken into serious recognition. And this similar, well, I wouldn't say similar, but I think should be given the same kind of recognition as the people who lost their life on the Christina. You understand the same argument that
Of
Banky,
course, that's
you
the whole
push here on
point.
a regular basis in terms of the accountability of the government in terms of things that were done to the people. And so why I'm saying, and that's one of the reasons why also we need to make sure we dispel this thing about a riot, because it wasn't a riot.
Yes.
They want to describe it as a riot, and they want to make it and give that impression. And so the people, because no, you can't be a riot when you're standing up for your rights.
Yes.
And you didn't even have a gun and a weapon, you don't come with no intent. I mean, you show even in their narrative that they're presenting,
Yes.
it shows clearly that the
course.
people didn't have that intent.
Yes.
Because if a man come out with a gun to shoot you in these times here, you're telling yourself, well, definitely, if I get the upper hand here, taking his life because he planned to take my life. You understand? So they demonstrated that that's not what their intent was. Their intent was to make sure that they get their raise better treatment for the workers.
Yes.
And that is what they were pushing throughout their whole thing. And then to have reaching to that culmination point at Buckley's, where then they brought out their reserves with weapons, with bullets, and literally open fire on the people. That is the riot. That them cause the riot. That's not no riot. Them are the riot some people who came and did that and imposed it on the people. So recognizing these things and taking these things into account, and that thing that the group or the organizers of this activity and this event
Yes.
is seeking to push in terms of making it a part of the curriculum is very vital.
Beautiful.
Because it's understanding these narratives that will help us to have a different outlook on even some of the events in the Caribbean. Because then we would have a different look at Haiti, who
Yes.
started that revolution from back then.
Yes, I.
And how they have sought to, using those same kind of narratives, poison our minds towards the revolutionary activities of the people back then in Haiti, opposing their system, because they have us thinking that we are part of them. And so when we think British and you know their system.
Hold it out, yes, son. It's your caller coming in. Caller, good evening. Caller, good evening.
Yes, greetings forward.
Yes.
Hold the thought, my brother. I want to remember what the hell was going. Within the mix, you know. When we check out 1935.
Raise your voice a little, caller.
Okay. 1935.
Yes.
Are we coming to good?
Yeah, man, beautiful.
During that time, you know, even though we had went through the human cargo and enslavement, starting from 14th century, 15th century, go right up to when they say it is abolished. Remember, 1935 was supposed to be a time when there's more civilized flexes in the earth. Are you with me? Towards human being to human being.
After 100 years later? No. So after, okay, if you check it, they will tell you from 1444 to 1844, because still stuff still going on. Even 1935 stuff still going on in Brazil and other places.
1935
Yes.
was even the time when Italy invaded Ethiopia.
Of course.
So we that is why we made the sound and said earlier that if our story, which is so crystal clear, is right, it is in front of us, crystal clear. We don't need to light no lamp. And when we look at the position with us being in control of, say, administrative vibration, which is called government,
Mm-hmm.
we are seeing over kith and kin. You have seen people who carry our views. And at the same time, there is not enough effort to awake the slumbering masses to their rightful,
True.
that is not so. And like the brethren said a while ago, like they feed from that. They're glad for that.
Yes.
And that is very sad.
But if you
Very sad.
but
Pardon?
every other culture tend to celebrate what their culture been through, their generation been through, their ancestors been through. Only we don't really embrace these things, and make sure have serious holidays and discussions around this thing. We might have a holiday, but then it's all a party, and it's not serious discussion and ceremonies where it's talking about literature and education and stuff like that. And that is the sad thing about it. You see?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So, I mean, but continue your point, Carla.
Yeah, well, we are, according to the Western Gregorian calendar 2024, we are seeing where leadership from which decisions are made and things are put in place through the Westminster politics. We are seeing it like crumbling,
Yes.
And we hope it is a sign for the coming of a system that is ours. So that, are we still online?
Yeah, you're here, Carla, loud and clear.
Yes. So that within that system there'll be new blood with the mentality that we are so dire in need of,
Carla, your call dropped. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there, but that wasn't my fault, so just want to apologize. But you can call back at any time. But let me say always, definitely I would like some more input. I mean, for those who listening and those who on Facebook, they can always give their voice their opinion and be a part of the discussion. Let me call out the numbers again. The numbers are 469-7953 or 669-7312 or 1917-460-2187. Let me the folks on Facebook, Evan Jeffers, good night all. You have Evan Jeffers said it's not cold there and the high winds is coming across the pond now. All right. Okay. You have John Gilbert, good evening everyone. Good night everyone. You have Trevor Carbo Cornelius. Nevis had the best soil for sugarcane. Nevis sugarcane produce more sugar per ton than St. Kitts. Definitely not just St. Kitts, not than any other Caribbean countries, Carbo. Also, Trevor Carbo said St. Kitts have sandy soil, which is good for peanuts. Irish potato could be added to that. Sweet potatoes, carrots, and stuff dashi in those root crops. St. Kitts soil doesn't hold water like Nevis soil. Definitely, Carbo.
Banky. Maybe I should take a minute here and just point out what I really was getting to when I made that point. It wasn't so much in the sense of better in terms of having better soil, but I was looking at the fact that at that point, in terms of, remember, for sugar, you're talking large quantity and large tracts of lands, right? And so because of that level of production, they were thinking of getting more into mechanization. And the fact that Nevis have more clay soil and more stony soil, in terms of making that move towards mechanization, it was easier for them to do that on St. Kitts, where they had much larger tracts of land, and the soil was easily managed mechanical-wise. So that is the difference I was talking about in terms of better.
Yes.
It was better suited for them from an economic standpoint, not necessarily so much in terms of the quality of the sugar or the soil per se, or the soil in Nevis.
Yes, here you have Alston Percival Butcher said, interesting program, my brother. And Aishan Tyson, big up Aishan. Knickknacks, definitely check out the spot over there at Stony Grove. Gwen Williams, good night all. And listeners, bless up all. You have Gwen Williams again. Good night, cuz. Amethyst Stanley, Joy King. Good evening, sis. And then you have let me see here. You have Burlby Jones. And then you have, before you have Joy saying it's Tuesday already. Yes, sis, you're having a good time. You're partying too much. All right, Burlby Jones said, good evening, guys. I can't even remember learning anything about Buckley's event. If it wasn't for the Rastaman, them, I would never know. Thing moving up and down the place. About the event, and also Burl said again, just turn. I have a call coming in here again. Carlo, good evening.
Yes, Banky.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
To all the panelists tonight.
Yes.
Banky.
Yes, I.
We got to get back to planting up the guts with green frig and sustain itself. And right now, Banky, I really thought that we could have made 2020-25, but it's looking hard because it's just too much a talk and too much round peg in square holes, and it just ain't going right. Now, Banky, if a man like you was around, you see, these people don't really, you can't expect no better. They don't listen.
Well, I'm here now. I'm available now.
People in the right places.
I'm available
That's the problem.
I'm available for anybody who want me.
I tell you, my brother.
Yes, I.
For what you seeing around here, it could be really hard for us if we have a problem in terms of no ships coming to bring no food. It could cause some serious problem in St. Kitts. Because the farmers, them, trying their best. It look like people saying, oh, they're supporting, but they're still here in the farmers, and then coming to the media, then getting on your show, and trying to give the truth, put the truth out there, then doing that. So people out there want to know who telling the lies, whether the government or the farmers. The information is not forthcoming. And I could tell you in a Banky, with weekend, if the field ever bring any white man in Kitts-Nevis can go any marijuana, they're going to see how this ball game go. Have a good night, all the BRGIEs them. And be strong.
Of course.
Keep it burning.
Appreciate
because
it.
Because as long as you and Dr. Alexander ain't in these meetings, it's problem. It's this medical marijuana. Banky, have a good night. You hear me, Bojan?
All right, appreciate it, Yamdam.
You take care, my brother.
Right, thanks.
I'm listening.
Yes. Appreciate the call, caller. Let me continue the comments. You have Burlby Jones here. Okay, just tune in, but great comments by you guys. The system is outdated. We the people need to change. Need changes. Not even a dot over the I or the cross over the T was added to remove from the Constitution to benefit us the people, and we're still down with the colonial masters. And then you have okay. Here you have Amethyst Stanley say good night, Gwen. All right, let me take this next call again. Caller, good evening.
Good evening, Banky. Good evening to Shadan, Yason. Good evening to the panel and to the listeners.
Yes, good evening.
Banky, the way this uprising started in St. Kitts, it seemed like it didn't stop. We don't understand. So it might have another uprising somewhere, because I don't believe we people have come of age to develop in the way that the uprising wanted us to go. We are not in that position. We are not in that part yet. We're still fighting day by day. We're still fighting our own day by day to get by. I mean, when you look at even
200 years later.
The Chinese.
200 years later.
I mean, still fighting. When you look at us as a people, and you look at the Chinese and the Indians, they come to our shores and dominating with the help of our people our leaders, their people, and their leaders. So when you look at it, how we as a people are going to get strong? How we as a people are going to move forward if we don't get another uprising to settle the score? I mean, look at it. You mentioned earlier how much liquid in our banks.
Mm-hmm.
What are we getting? We are not getting that preferential treatment to develop our country, to develop ourselves, to develop our people with that kind of wealth. I mean, we just fighting ourselves to get ahead, and I don't feel that a good way for we to be fighting. We don't fight long time. Even the very Bible says, what have been written aforetime, written now for our learning. What have been eaten by the wise and prudent revealed to babe and suckling.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't receive nothing yet. And it's not good. Now, on another hand, there with the agriculture part,
yes,
the government has been giving people spots of land to cultivate. Now, as I mentioned before, livestock is also agriculture.
of course.
Same as food crop.
Yes.
And if the government is going to, you have roaming animals all over the world.
Yes.
I go Cuba, I see them. I go Panama, I see them. I see them in England. All over the world, you have roaming animals. And Nevis in the Caribbean, they're all over. And I am saying, if the government is going to give a man a piece of land to cultivate, his land is fenced, the government must make sure that his land is fenced. Whether it be fenced by the government, or it be fenced by the operator of the land. You can't wait until people, animal come in your land to tell them, oh, you animal come in my land, left your gate open, and then this man who have 2, 3 heads of animal or 4, 20, 40, 50, whatever, now have to go pay $25 and $30 and $40,000 for something you make up when it's government land, where the animal are customer roaming. If you're going to come in an animal territory, you have to fence your land.
Yes.
And if you fence your land, you have to keep your gate closed. And if you're serious about agriculture, all these things must be in place to help the people alleviate some of these stress that they have in.
Definitely.
That's my point. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And that was my boy Cabo, as usual. I mean, with beautiful points and straight to the point.
Yeah, man. Some very excellent points as usual.
Let me continue.
And one of the things, Banky, as he pointed out, like, there's just that same crab in a barrel mentality amongst our people. You find, like as he highlighted, the Chinese, they think different in terms of how they see themselves and uplifting their country. It's not so much a singular movement where it's just about them. Like okay.
But who's supporting these businesses? Right? But who's supporting these businesses? God just came from Kitts-Nevis-Anguilla.
I'm giving this point I'm giving this point strictly another point that Cabo put forward there.
Yes.
I have a project in mind, right? A holistic agricultural project that will look at almost all of the aspects of agriculture that can put St. Kitts and Nevis at not just the top of sustaining themselves, but also dealing with a lot of the issues within the region in terms of even the movement of the products and sorting and getting them up to the quality of shipping to even exporting out of the region as well. Now, I would say I need about $30 million, right? To do that project. That's not strange to come out of the CBI money, right?
Definitely.
But they would look at me and might say, oh, but we ain't giving that kind of money there because this is the same crab in a barrel mentality. And I would give that project, same business plan to somebody who of a different color, coming in a suit and tie, and maybe tell them they want 50 million for the same project, and we'll get it with ease. And these are the kind of things and are real that we have to deal with. And until we really are serious about doing these things and making these kind of investments in our people that will empower our people, because a project like that will create jobs, will create new technology, will manufacturing sector will open up, create new opportunities for agripreneurs.
Yes.
Where you would have people in the agricultural industry that getting into areas that they might not have even thought might have been a career or business that they could take on and take it to another level. And these are some of the things that we can do to empower ourselves and bring us to another level. And this is what we want. And this is what the government should be willing to take, since they're claiming that it's our, but not they're claiming, it is our money, because the passport, the product is our product as citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. So take some of that money and really invest it, not just back in hotels, not just give it to a outsider who's coming in with a hotel project, some other project like that. But if you're really serious about agriculture, these are things that I'm hoping and looking forward to. Expanding the money, the value added component. You know, this is one of my latest product here, like a zest that's made of ginger and garlic and lemon, right? That you can add to your salads and stuff like that. But at the same time, it boosts your immune system.
True.
Right? So it's a healthy, tasty snack at the same time, a healthy, tasty product at the same time that you can add to your meals and so on, but at the same time, boost your immune system. And we have to be thinking seriously, especially in the region, the smaller islands in the Caribbean and in the African territories, which is something that I am observing as I, continue doing my research in agriculture, and I'm doing my research to be able to get information to present my argument in terms of putting this project forward. That one of the things that we are lacking in the region, in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the region, and in Africa, is the ability to seriously look at our craft as not just sustenance, not just a part-time thing, not just something you do on the side, but you actually study it and take it as a business so that you can start to not just look at growing the crop, but as you're growing the crop, also begin to think of how could I add value to this crop? What other value-added products I can create or invest in so that I can make more money, have a longer shelf life for this thing, and put myself in a position where I add value, in some cases, not even just to myself, but to the overall gross national product of the country and so on, and helping to bring foreign exchange and so on. So these are some of the things that our people need to really start to look at, because we don't have Africa may have, but in the Caribbean, in a lot of the cases, we don't have a lot of the hectares that at least in the smaller islands here, St. Kitts and Nevis, and we don't have the hectares.
It's not just about the hectares too, Yason. We have to remember a lot of the land throughout the Caribbean have been poorly damaged by overuse of pesticides and chemicals also, but we're not. You see, when we saw the Caribbean itself is losing a lot of fertile land, and once you lose at least an inch of fertile land, that land take at least 500 years before that soil come back. Real arable for farming.
And also the lack of interest in agriculture.
Yes.
And the mindset of just outside investors and so on, put them in that position where they eventually sell out a lot of the prime agricultural lands to other forms of development and so on. So you have all of these things, and it just come back to really that paradigm shift, that change in that, as my professor friend puts it, brain re-engineering that is needed for us to put agriculture back to the pinnacle where it should be. So that even if we don't get to the point where the monies, the revenue comes in from agriculture is equal to tourism or any other industry, major player industry, that it can even supersede them and become the top revenue generator. And we could do it if the mindset, if it begins with the mindset. And so we're going to need to start to teach agriculture from the preschool and mandate that it be a part of the curriculum up to the tertiary level.
Yeah, but yes, and
secondary should be no choice. It should be compulsory. Just because you must do maths and English, you must do agriculture too.
Yes. Carlo, good evening. Carlo, good evening.
Again.
Yes.
Because the Virgin there just make some excellent points. I mean, these guys, people vote for them, and they're taking the best land and giving the blocks pocket man them are coming in the fat wallet and then on the money. And giving them the best agricultural land. They ain't to say putting them on the roxy part of land. Let them use excavator and get the one done. They're giving them the best farmland to sustain we.
Yes,
I. So brother, you right on par. You right on par. And we're going to take these things just so, because right now in St. Kitts-Nevis-Anguilla, poor people get a little piece of land to build a home, not even land to go a backyard garden. these politicians telling you, tell the treasury, do not take no money from you because you get it from a certain prime minister. They're looking problem with people and they coming in a banky. The problem is coming. And I hope the poor people them understand and will try to listen to your banky. That is farming but get us out of all this here.
It's the only way. It's the only way.
And you're well educated to spin Kitts-Nevis. And may let you go, you know. May not let you go because the time will come for you to leave this thing here in Kitts-Nevis. You banky. Because they all them not listening. Me know that.
Yes,
I know they're listening me.
Yes.
And I know they're going to fail to activate them. Have a good night, my brethren. And
Appreciate it.
brethren,
Yes, I.
keep on par. Keep on par.
Yeah, man,
Yes,
definitely.
Keep on par.
Of course.
Man, the island know every time, right?
Of course.
And it's Rasta going to liberate this place.
Yeah,
Have
man,
a
we
good
stand
night.
we stand alone. We not bow. Appreciate the call, caller. Yes, let me continue some of the comments here. Burlby Jones, he was saying, look, yesterday there was a meeting in Nevis between the NIA and the federal government, but we're glorifying the meeting. He basically saying, but these are what they should be doing all the time. So we shouldn't have make it as a big issue because you see these don't happen over the years, and that's the problem. So when something like this happen, it's news and all this different stuff, and you know. But I'm not excited by stuff like this. But these are stuff should be going on since way beyond 1983. So I'm not excited by these little news excerpts or whatever they call it. Amethyst Stanley say good night. Everything agriculture, just tune in. You have Burlby Jones again. I wonder if the private sector should just go ahead and control and dominate the agricultural sector. Let's forget about government. They're not supporting the farmers as needed. All right. Burlby Jones again. Let me see where I jump here. This thing moving so fast. Okay. It's a lot of comments here, boy. Full speed. The screen keep.
Okay, I could continue for you.
Yeah, the screen keep moving.
Burlby Jones said that caller is so true. We're still fighting each other and too much division across the narrows. We are the same people, one federation, and we need to be moving as such. He continued, he said, so big up the Small Axe Road March song for Carnival. The Carnival big, let's make it bigger for the world to see, one federation. We got Tabitha Wilkinson logging in, Burlby Jones again. We have to improve in agriculture to be self-sufficient. The wars will continue. See, Israel lost 24 soldiers in one day, in a one-day attack yesterday. Now, most current update in that war. And even as you talk about that, we are psyched up about what is going on with Israel and Palestine.
We're going on in Niger and all them places. We're going on in Niger and all them places.
Congo and Sudan and all of them places there, So, we have to have this balanced media. Some of us, we need to watch Al Jazeera and so on. We can't just watch BBC and CNN and.
Because that's what we control. You're going to the banks. All this.
All of this is part of. Banky, I can go to the comments still, right? But I'm just make this point here because it come back to me again because it's the second time somebody mentioned it again. That and ironically, it happens to be us here as two Rastaman pushing this story as well. But if it wasn't for Rastafari, a lot of these things, we would not have been on the front burner. I would not have been on the forefront, and Rastafari get a whole heap of ridicule and persecution. I mean, it's good to see that at this point some sort of recognition is being given, right? But a lot more needs to be done in terms of acknowledging, not just the cannabis, not just the ITAL food, where they still even don't want to give us ITAL, they call it vegan.
You see, forces are now getting involved with giving tours now with us IRI and the ITAL cooking and so forth. No.
You know what I mean?
Boy,
yeah, man.
we embrace things when other people embrace it, And that's what we love. We love when other people accept things. Now we put fancy names to it and we embrace it because we love other people. We are polarized. We don't know ourselves. That's the problem. We see everybody else as great. And once they accept it, we always want somebody else to accept our tradition. And when they embrace it, then we run ahead. You see what I mean?
But Banky, one of the big things, one of the big trends right now out here is the minimalistic lifestyle, they call it, and off-grid tiny home living.
Walking barefoot,
what is that?
Barefoot. Hold
what
the
that
point.
is?
Hold the point again, Carlo. Come here. Carlo, good evening.
Banky, I had to come in there again because
No
he
problem.
said something and I'm so delighted to hear that. Because it's the best food.
Of
And to
course.
hear Four Seasons bring Rasta in the do now with Ital.
Mhm.
That is the only food going to sustain the poor people from diseases and sickness.
Yeah, man.
They have to eat properly, otherwise they're going to go up in the hospital, them, you know, with their foot hang up, you know.
The guests, the meet with a calabash and,
They
and
have
Yabapat.
to eat the right thing.
Yabapat and
Good
calabash.
night, and good night, El Camino, and the wife.
Yes, good evening, Jamdam. Enough respect. The guests, the meeting Ital out of Calabash and Yabapat and Tristone. You see? But we only so going to scope if we expand that. And then spending $10,000 in a room and want the simplicity. So most of a big up us IRI. Got to big up us IRI and Ranks and all them other guys who keep bubbling the Ital pot all over.
And
through
all
the
the rest of
Caribbean.
our who
Everybody.
stay through the struggle.
Of course.
And who have, stay through the fight.
Yes,
take all
I.
the persecution. Watch here. We must remember, you know, Ross IY also was a top manager at
Of
Four
course.
Seasons at
Yes.
one point too, you know.
Yes.
Maybe you don't know that.
And
but
Golden
at
Rock
one
too.
point
And
he was
Golden
very
and Golden Rock.
high-ranking.
But Golden Rock too. When in the days, he used to manage Golden
No,
Rock.
in the same Four Seasons I'm talking about. That would have been
yes,
after he left Four Seasons.
Okay.
But at Four Seasons, and so it's really good to see that, and to see that after all the fight and persecution, you know, and go through that, at this point they still come around to accept what we have been saying. And I look at the media sometimes and I see they're talking about, you know, cooking in metal pots and you know, all of the different issues that surrounding that, and you know, the utensils that are made out of metal and versus
Of course.
wooden, and
Yes.
and we say like this is what we would have been living with. We met our grandparents doing
Of
it.
course.
And we have been programmed, and this is what is being done with this. You know, all of these things tie into the Buckley's uprising, you know, because it's some of these
It's our
same
story.
kind of
It's our story, our culture,
that is
our
some of this
traditions.
conditioning that is done to our minds,
Yes.
to weaken out that sort of revolutionary spirit that those people in the Buckley's uprising had.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? All of this is part of it. The kind of conditioning and brain bleaching
Yes.
that they had to do, brain conditioning, and that is why we are saying, especially on the agriculture side. I met a professor the other day from Nigeria. He's based in a university in England right now, and one of his concepts, which I am hoping to work along with him with, and I am in total agreement. The only thing is I never coined the phrase like that, but he has coined it like that. He called it brain re-engineering. We need a brain re-engineering.
Of course, you got to relearn everything. You got to relearn everything. That's the whole point. You got to relearn everything that we thought.
Re-engineer.
And
You
that's
need a
it.
whole re-engineering
Of course.
process for us to start to make the direct links and
Yes.
connection and how.
But they don't want that, yes,
How
son.
we
There's a
really
narrative where
impact-
they don't want that. There's a narrative. That's just what, and that's why
So
this
that's
show
why I
is here
tell
for. This show gonna be
that's why I
different to
tell
every other
you-
show. We're gonna keep it real. We're not switch it
That's why
up.
I tell you, Banky.
That's
Give me
it.
the $30 million. Give me the
Of
$30
course.
million. Me not asking for 100 like a hotel would want, 200 million as.
Now we
you
could
know,
take
they
we
give
could
to
take
somebody.
200 and build a hotel too. You know, we can do anything. You know, so that's the concept we have to have. We can build our own place.
No, I could make
All
the,
right.
I could make the 200 off of the 30.
Yes.
I only asking for about 30 right now. As the project develop and we advance, they could give me the rest when they see it working. So I'm being.
We need a new way
lenient at this
forward when it comes to invest in our country. Any major projects, any major projects. Like you have a project there. We're talking about the we call it the solar project. If it's 100 million, you sell the shares to your people, brethren. You have $50 million of shares to sell for fellas, whatever it is. $1, I don't care. Let your people buy these shares and raise the money, and they have a percentage of it.
Because as we're talking
That's
about
it. It's simple.
empowerment of the people, their mindset is not so much of the empowerment of the people.
Where they going to school for then? Where you sending your children you to be engineers and to be nurses and doctors and all? Where they going to school to study for? To come back
Bro,
here and then bring in somebody
there's
overseas,
some
give them your
things- there's
resources?
some things-
That don't make sense. What is
There's
this
some
one?
things that people may criticize Dr. Juffa,
Yes.
right, as Prime Minister right now.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, there's some things that I would still give him credit for. One of the things is opening the CFBC in terms of
For
tertiary
free.
education,
Yes.
reducing the loan thing. I think Navy should have matched that with at least making sure they take care of the boats.
No.
Since the government now making sure that the CFBC free,
But how much is
Navy should have matched that and say.
But how much the student loan come down? How much the percent
fee.
come down to? How much the student loan come down to?
The other thing, that new initiative in terms of investing in the youth, putting some money on an account for the youth and then start a trade in it and so on, I welcome that initiative, right? Because it fits into the same kind of mindset that the sister that we had on the program. What her name? Tamilin? In terms of trying to educate the youths.
Oh, Davina Tomlinson, Davina, yeah. Cassius Queen.
Yeah. That kind of concept, starting to get them to start to think money and business from pretty early in their life is something that I welcome a lot. That is something that I from a looking to move forward thinking approaches.
Yes.
Yes. But I am going to I'm not going to make any assessment yet because I'm going to actually present my proposal and see where that goes from there. Then I could say more on that in that regards.
Okay.
But yeah, man, we really need to see more of this where we have that change of crab in a barrel mentality where you feel like, boy, we can't make I make more money than me, I make he richer than me, and you know what I mean, this crab in a barrel mentality that we have. We can't see it as empowering me one or two of us when our intent is empowering the nation, when we're looking at something that will hire people and put, empower our people to do a lot more. This is not about me. It's more of really addressing global food security and addressing agriculture on a regional and a global level. And we could do it. Small Kitts-Nevis-Anguilla. That plan that I have, my brother, we could do it as small as it will be. But we did it already.
Yes.
We did it already. That's what we call Queen of the Caribbean.
Well, let's say that.
Queen of the Caribbean.
Well, let's say that. Let me say from the farm that I visited over in Maligny, I just want to say if any extension officer not visiting Winston Morris, they need to go and visit the gentleman because he have a lot of data on the farm that need to be collected when it comes to planting and production. When it comes to planting production and cash crops like melon, cucumber, and other farmers should visit him and get some farming technique also of his intercropping and how he uses bananas almost as a way to cool the land, as the shade house effect, where you can still trim up the leaves on them, where you bring in enough sunlight and still plant between the banana trees to retain some of the moisture and keep it cool. So a lot of, that farm, his techniques could be used as a model. And this, but if the extension officer is not visiting these farmers and they want to see them, how they're going to learn? Because you can't have in your head because you went to some good school, everything, because experience, all the Methodist church, all the different churches, Anglican church, and we build them. And you show you went to a good school. Everything is just passed down traditionally. That experience, everybody can pay for your experience and your skill set. All them buildings you own, some of the greatest builders and contractors. Which school they went to? But this is what happened. Other people have get intimidated because they went to a good school now. They're intimidated by those who went to the school and want to put things in place where keep those who don't went the way. And so only them alone can. They have their alliance. Everybody from alliance.
That's what it is, the same crab in a barrel mentality.
Yes, of course.
So they tell yourself, oh, me had to go
yes.
get a kind of degree and whatever.
Yes.
And went through that and you could just do that? No, man.
But they're going to have to pay us for our PhD knowledge, experience. That's the whole point.
Until we change the mentality.
Yes, that is the problem. These college graduates who went to these beautiful whatever schools and whatever, and the alpha, beta, dim, dam, matter, whatever. I mean, worry about that. Then Greek philosophies. They formed an alliance and end up in the system and fight other people. I hear it all the time. I see it all the time. But
so that is why
hold a point again. Yes, sir.
At a position. Yeah.
Caller, good evening.
Yeah, Banky. Son just make a good point there when it comes to Joe. But let me show you something, Banky.
Yes.
In the early 70s, Dr. Joe used to follow Farrakhan. He used to be on the top of the 4th Street selling journal as a young man. I reckon, but the guy moved away from Resto. He's
Muslim.
He's a Muslim,
Yes.
But he ain't want people to know he's a Muslim. But John
Mm-hmm.
You know Iwali? You ever meet Iwali?
Who?
You heard about Iwali?
Iwali?
Iwali. A youngster too.
No, I never heard. The name sound familiar. The name sound familiar.
Yeah, let me ask you a personal question, Banky.
Yes.
He been to Nevis yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He went to talk to Janice.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't say.
That boy there, he like a fuck.
I'm not sure who all was in part of the meeting.
But he gonna cut you out. We gonna cut him around, man. We gonna cut him around. If the field was spent some kind of marshmallow, we don't know. We don't know, man. If
Jam
he
down,
and meet
jam
the
down.
lady, and he'll
Jam down.
he could fool Nevis people. With the boy over Nevis. I watch a clip with them coming off the play in Darkon. I playing my boo. We gonna see how this ball game go, man. All right. Play around poor people. Take us lightly. Take us lightly. This man is a professor. He's a Muslim. When the man pick up the country, the man make man down here feel like, oh, he come to deal with the narrows, you know. But the man took 2 years before he could go over Nevis. And when he gone over there, he up and down in Mark Bradley. He ain't gone to the opposition to try work out things and bring the country together. Set a vagabond. They will tell us, Banky, this country is yours. But those words mean nothing. Serious word, King Axine. We gonna deal it out, man. Take it easy. We gonna deal it out. The time coming around to put everything in the box and deal it out. Set of vagabonds, all of them. Just about themselves and themselves alone.
Tell him I want
Jam down. Carlos, yes, I want to ask you something. Go ahead, yes, son.
Yes, I.
Yes, son, go ahead.
No, in terms of, I understand the arguments and presentation in terms of his position with the Premier and Dr. Joe, right? However, even though I may agree with some of the things that he is mentioning, I am wondering if sometimes in the middle of that argument that the fact that just the offices, the fact that Mark Brantley happens, even though he is the head of the opposition and even though he opposed vehemently the Labour Party and the campaign, and he actually agreed that he would have signed up with PAM versus dealing with Labour. But the fact that he's the Premier, it means that the Prime Minister still have to have diplomatic relations with the Premier. So in order for the federation to work,
but the Prime Minister
how do you respond to that argument?
It's not just the Prime. It's not just Mark Burnley. It's the country. You have to bring the country together. There's still kids for in this politics, you know. And young politicians coming through. Nobody talk about that one over Nevis. This man mash up a whole country. Brethren, have a good night. And poor people understand it, eh? Poor people understand it. So if the field of playing games, we don't know. Have a good night, my brethren.
Appreciate it, Carly. Thanks for calling in. Okay, yes, son. Before we continue, and then we come back and do the wrap up and read up the rest of on Facebook, rest of the comments on Facebook. Tomorrow, let me say this, Danny Ataton will be starting a new show here on 2020 Vision Radio, so definitely I've been pushing Danny and let him know he has so much knowledge, so I'm very happy when he told me he's going to be starting a show. Last week we were having some discussion, we were thinking about it, and the show will be named Strategies for Business Success. And Danny is very versatile when it comes to business and managing business and well-trained, especially in the agricultural sector and stuff like that. So definitely I have worked in the agricultural sector at Central Bank and FAO. So definitely, I mean, it will have this show will go a long way and definitely have a lot of listeners, and encourage all those to share the information that Danny at the time will be starting a new show tomorrow. And let me play a clip of the promo.
Business owners and entrepreneurs, get ready for Strategies for Business Success, a weekly program.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me come back on that.
Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune into 2020 Vision Radio.
Business owners and entrepreneurs, get ready for Strategies for Business Success, a weekly program with business development advocate Daniel Arterton, starting Wednesday, 24 January at 7 p.m. right here on 2020 Vision Radio. Each week, Danny will build on the foundation to help ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success, a program designed just for you, can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny every Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on 2020 Vision Radio.
Beautiful, and welcome back to the Everything Agriculture Show. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Banky, and we're down on the final end. We're about to start wrapping up, but we are here. We've been talking about the Buckley's Uprising that happened in 1935, where 3 men had got killed because of fighting for the rights of better condition and for raise and bonuses that were due to them. But the planter class didn't feel like the working class deserve a raise for the amount of cane they've been cutting and stuff like that. So that led to all kind of crazy, all kind of stuff. Boats coming in from Bermuda and other policemen and coming over from Anguilla and stuff like that. For a couple of days, as I realized, almost a week it's been going on. So definitely, I was looking forward to hear some input from Sylvian Henry as an educator on this. But we have so much people who are knowledgeable about this kind of information, and we just don't speak up because of whatever political reason, whatever. I don't try to figure out what's in people's mind, because we all choose to think how we want and put things in our own perspective for whatever reason. But I've realized a lot of people have kept in a corner, by my observation, because of protecting their home and their cars and their lifestyle, and that's what it's all about. And you can see, if you check out Hollywood and all this different stuff going on, it's a mess. All those same actors who look like me, crying out, all of them, female crying out, underpaid. Those who are at the top come matching. All of them crying out. Those who went to the same school, but because of a skin color. And you go hear the young lady, who hustle and float. What's her name? Tajay, whatever her name. How they put it over, or how she cannot be paid because of her color. Don't go good overseas. How to put it? By these people racist. They make up these terms, you know. You're an actor making you $1 million, but transition overseas, your color is not appealing overseas. You see? So if you look like us, they're overseas. I show you overseas how they think. You see what I mean? That's how they think. In plain sight, not hiding.
You see, but the sad thing is, even here amongst us, those who look like us are performing as if we are outside there and are treating us as if we are outside there.
Your cookies, your son. Your cookies.
In some subtle ways.
We have a lot of Oreo cookies on the island, you know, and throughout the world, a lot of Oreo cookies. Plenty.
Subtle ways.
Plenty of Oreo cookies. But you wanna finish up?
I must say give thanks to Danny Atherton. I definitely
man, big up Danny every
tune
time.
into his program.
Of course.
Because that's one of the brothers that I must say as an elder.
Yes.
Who I looked up to and who was a part of my motivation and inspiration. And I can't say was make it sound like it's past tense. It still is, you know, one of my great motivators. Humble guy, but you know, very, very, very powerful, very loving, very caring, very open. I don't know. I mean, that brother is just a brother that like a brother from another mother to me. You know, a brother and still a mentor. You know, at the same time, like a father.
When it comes to Danny, I mean, Danny's family, and the most I can say, he just need to write a book and a memoir. Because he have to, no, I mean, it's the right thing to do.
Man, so
definitely, I'll be a first person to purchase a book. You see what I mean? It is needed.
I look forward to the presentation, and I definitely would help to promote it in any way. So if he has a flyer or any sort of promotion on material, Danny, send it over, and so I would definitely try to get it over on my platforms, wherever, you know, so I can get people to tune in, because no doubt about it, you would have the knowledge and the experience, and the fact that you're willing to share it,
of course,
is very, very good and critical, because as we talk about right now, especially on the agricultural side, that is part of the shift, the paradigm shift that is needed for folks to start to really see their craft, their skill, agriculture as a business, and so start to think of being an agripreneur,
a
business person. Just like they have entrepreneurs, you'll become an agripreneur because
Yes,
you have a business created out of the agricultural industry, so
well, I'm
enough
looking
respect,
forward for
Danny.
tomorrow, I'm already in the front seat already. You know what I mean? Just set my when Danny start me now move. 'Cause I don't know. It's just words of wisdom and everything will be inspirational. And one thing I know, these guys have already know the equation already. So when they speak. Once you follow these rules, you must succeed. You see, because
Yeah, man.
they're speaking from
Yeah, man.
experience. So once they give you that guideline, once you follow these guidelines, the wheel, you ain't got to invent no wheel. So it's people like these guys and should be policy makers and should be glad, to be a part of meetings and people and listen to. But somehow people, we have you see these good schools, some of these good schools, and some people don't lose. You see, those who know themselves don't lose themselves going to these schools, And you could see those who lose themselves. That's what I keep bringing up these good schools. Many lose themselves.
You see,
Because,
Banky, part of what we're saying here,
yes,
I'm glad that we still I'm glad that we opted to deal with the Buckley's uprising topic today because a lot of what we're saying still tie back into that.
Well, that's
because
it, of
from
course.
out of the Buckley, from out of the Buckley's uprising, right? You remember you had those who were fighting,
of course,
the system, right?
Yes.
And then the system developed in such a way now that they use the Minecraft to further divide the people now from just being against them against us.
But it's always the mind, It's always the mind. It's always yes.
They divide us now into another breakdown now. So you think now when you're fighting against, each other, really and truly, you're just fighting against, and you're just choosing which one of us you're putting in position to still maintain the system that you've been fighting against initially. So when you think you're really doing something to better yourself, really and truly, it's a game you're playing at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so it's all of these psychological things are things that we need to really be able to look at how the divide and rule and conquer game is being played out. And until we really start to recognize that and recognize still that, it is we who are the government and it's we who are the people and we elect these people and we need to hold them accountable and demand that they do the things that we elect them to do or else and have them start to engage some of these debates and these discussions as we talk about like the Republic's issue and so on and all of these kind of topics that and stop just play the divide and rule thing where you play this little cussing game and put one party to cuss against another party and so on, and then the real issues and the real topics are not brought to the fore. Another thing I'm suggesting, Banking, I think I've suggested it before, a lot of these topics, right? Because we have problems with the youths, them being able to reason, conflict resolution. And I think part of it is the fact that they're not engaged in a lot of these kind of debates and exchanges. So we need to engage in school. So if the government don't necessarily want to engage in some of these topics, right? Whether it's reparations, whether it is, the Buckley's uprising, whether it is repatriation, whether it is becoming a republic or whatever it is, find ways that you could get the youth them in school to engage these kind of topics and create the forums, whether it is on social media, TV, town hall meetings or whatever, and engage the topics and bring the topics to the fore so that the public concern can now be more engaged in some of these things. And then they themselves, as a result of engaging in these debates on a regular, not just when it's time for the Leeward Island debating competition, but they would have these debates on a regular basis throughout the year, then they themselves will be more equipped in dealing with when they have people who oppose their views and opinions.
Of course.
They would be in a better position to be able to stand up and challenge and respond to their points versus getting angry and wanting to take up a gun and shoot another and so on, because they would be in a more equipped position to reason. And so that's another suggestion.
We have a lot of comments here to go through, and then we do the wrap up. You want to continue the comments, Jason? You remember where we left off?
Well, I think I had left
by Burlby Jones, somewhere down there.
I left off where Burlby Jones was, where he said he said, Yason, you're on point tonight, then we can do it for master, but we can't do it for ourselves. You know what I mean? And I guess he's talking about the farming and all that, Yes. We could have run the plantations and make millions and billions for Britain, right? But now we got the lands for ourselves. we can't feed ourselves. We got to still look to Britain and America and England to feed us. Well, you see the kind of, that's what I'm saying, we really need that brain re-engineering in the banking. We really need that brain re-engineering. He said, why is my village called Cotton Ground? For the amount of cotton and other staple crops we grew there to send to England. We see where agriculture is now in the gutters. See, I mean, that strengthens the point that I just made a while ago.
Yes.
Original lyrics lacking. That's Mannix from Just Up Step, Bless Up All the People.
Big up lyrics, you don't know. Article Virgin.
Trevor Cornelius, again, he was commenting on Ras Ira. He said, Old Manor too, he managed for many years, Ras Ira. He said, good morning to Margaret Taylor, who is viewing from the UK.
Good morning, Margaret.
Lenny.
Good evening. That's what it
Bobby
is,
Jones said, big up Ras Ira. Trevor Cornelius, again, he said, I have my views on these political issues, but I reserve for now. I guess he was talking
about Lenny Libod, Chef Lenny.
No, he was talking about when I was talking about Dr. Joe and Mark and the fact, right? So yeah. But anyway, Danny Atherton, thanks for the promotion, Banky. We intend to simplify how we can grow our SMEs. Then we have Damien Jeffrey, big move, Daniel Atherton, Tamaki, Lucky in the Bedroom, Fountain Massive again, Jasmine Paris, banker, farmer, teacher, enough respect, original lyrics, Mannix again at work, tuning in, bless up my bedrooms.
Yes,
yeah, man,
bedrooms,
bless up yourself, man. Good that you're
looking forward to seeing you for Culture Armor
20. Good night to everybody who
50.
Yeah.
Summer. You don't know. We link up when you
bless
come
up
down.
Everybody who lock in and who usually share the show. This is a topic that is not necessarily addressed, and one of the things that I love with the show, Banky, is that we are able to demonstrate, even in our presentations, how agriculture tie into a number of different aspects.
Agriculture is in everything.
Also at the same time, help many others to see and help to tend to take away that negative stigma how they look at farmers as well.
Yes,
because I guess they would realize with our utterances and the information that we present that we ain't a fool, we ain't a clown.
Well, I mean, we are up for those who want to challenge us, and then we can come up with our technical terminologies if we need to. But it's not. We just keep it simple so everyone can listen to the show. A 2-year-old, 3-year-old daughter listening,
Right.
So she understand what I'm speaking about. Cause you see what I mean. So this is what this show is all about. It's an educational show, and we're gonna keep it educational, but we're gonna hold those policymakers' foot to the fire. We now slip up, we now pretend. Banky, that's just it.
As the topic is the Buckley's uprising.
Yes.
And coincidentally, incidentally, we happen also to be Rastafaris. And we are the ones who, for all these years, have been, on the forefront of keeping that fire, so to speak, ablaze in terms of pushing for the celebration of the Buckley's uprising, and at this point even pushing for it to be a National Heroes Day to commemorate the fallen brothers and sisters as national heroes, to allocate more of the land if you need to acquire it from who you sold it to. You purchase it and set it up to be a monumental place for folks to come back. Something like, maybe I have not been to the what you call it, the Malcolm Gishard Park, but yes. Something with that kind of setting with historical monuments and stories, the whole lot of museum historical things about what happened and so on, so that youths can go and sit and enjoy themselves and at least go in and learn about that aspect of St. Kitts history that is not just even St. Kitts history, but at the same time is said to have.
And you see, if you pay attention when you travel and you go through a lot of some of them history, what call it the airports, you realize you see a lot of history of the culture of the state that you go through the airports and stuff like that. You have some we have a call here.
Yeah.
Caller, good evening.
Sister T ain't coming on tonight.
Excuse me?
Sister T ain't coming on tonight.
No. You're listening to the Everything Agriculture show.
I thought Sister T was coming on tonight.
Oh no, sorry about that. I guess Sister T might be in the morning or next night. All right, that caller was looking for Sister C and her music and stuff like that. So yes, and so you wrap up.
Yeah, well, I think that
Before you do wrap up, let me play the intro for Danny again one more time for those who just tuning in, and then you do your wrap up. I think you do it and then I play it after the show. What you want?
No, do the Danny.
Okay.
Business owners and entrepreneurs, get ready for Strategies for Business Success, a weekly program with business development advocate Daniel Arterton, starting Wednesday, 24 January at 7 p.m. right here on 2020 Vision Radio. Each week, Danny will build on the foundation to help ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success, a program designed just for you, can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny every Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on 2020 Vision Radio.
Can't wait, Yason. Can't wait for tomorrow.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Can't wait.
In wrapping up, and before we wrap up, Danny, really give thanks for this move. I'm really looking forward to the information presented and looking forward to rapping with you and some of these things, even in and behind the scenes,
Yes, I.
Really something that is needed. I think definitely needed, and especially folks who are involved in agriculture. I hope that you really take the time out to listen, because there's going to be a lot for you to learn, and you could really take in and start to implement and get your agro business ready, because you have a $200 million market to tap into. You need to start to think like that. Your country is spending over $200 million US dollars annually. So no matter what you grow right now, you can find yourself somewhere fitting into fixing that $200 million from going out of the country and staying in the country. And Danny and his program is going to help you in terms of the business side of how to approach some of these things. So I really look forward to that, and I hope everybody tune in, but especially those in agriculture, so that you could start to have that shift, and which is something that I'm really looking forward to, and really have my plans also to help to change where that is concerned, that mindset, and implement certain things that would cement making that a reality. In wrapping up, I'll wrap up where I started by giving enough respect to the Rastafari community for keeping that strength and that revolutionary spirit throughout all the persecution and ridicule and everything, that you stood tall, stood with what you believe in, what you know to be so. And we are at the point now where a lot of the things that Rastafari was pushing and push forward, that the system and the society is now accepting. I also want to, and in that regard, one of such thing is some of the movement towards achieving some of the things that you have been pushing for in regards to the Buckley's revolution uprising. I also want to thank BRGIE for thinking of some of these topics and selecting some of these, and for us to be able also to find ways of tying it into the implications also for agriculture, and be able to have that engaging discussion and topic out of it, and not just with this topic, but also with a number of other issues that we generally bring to this program that sometimes are not necessarily aired on many other programmings, and that's one of the things that I really love about this program, how we are able to do that, and I really must give you that level of respect for that, for really doing that, and for us to be able to do it so
couldn't do it without you, and the listeners and the viewers there, and that's what it's all about. We just bring the topics, and the listeners and the viewing audience make the input card. They all have a part to say, and that's what make it a beautiful show.
I was just about to get to them now too, because without them,
of course,
we don't necessarily have a show. We would just be here talking to ourselves.
Yes,
and they make sure that we know that they're participating
Yes.
by calling
Yes.
in some cases, and in other cases, those who make their contribution on the Facebook wall or the YouTube and Twitch. Maybe eventually we're gonna have to get when we get to that level, we're gonna get somebody to manage those other pages so we could get the feedback from them and so on, because we get set that we could open up another screen that we could see some of those other comments and so on, so that we can have them also being a part of the engagement. But all of you who make your contribution, we really, really give thanks over the years that you let us know that we are not talking to ourselves, and that you're taking heed, and you think that what we are saying is of some level of importance or significance, that you would come back and listen, or at least share to another friend or loved one or family to come. So I give thanks, and I really want to wish you all a wonderful evening, and I hope and pray also too that after this discussion that we had this evening, that a lot more of you would take the time out on the day of the celebration of the Buckley's Uprising and go outside. Yes, the Buckley's Revolution Uprising. You go out and commemorate with our people and hear a little bit more and learn a little bit more. We read out some of the information earlier on this evening. You also can Google it and do some research for yourself, and also take some time and go to the event, show your face. If you maybe used to see the Rastaman them up there and never really know and think it's just a Rastaman thing, now you get a better overview of what it is that they're celebrating, and you can go and show your face, be a part of the revolution, be a part of the struggle, and show that our people did not lose their lives over nothing. That's another important thing.
Beautiful.
And with that, I would want to tell everybody good evening, give thanks for another wonderful edition, and we look forward to seeing you next week Tuesday. And remember, next week Tuesday we'll be linking up with Real Entertainment Network. That's with Ira and Alan and Wootop and the whole crew over on that side. We definitely will be doing a simulcast, and we're hoping to make sure that we do this at the end of every month.
Yeah, man.
So we have
every
that
month.
kind of connection. We build that the youth along with our network, and build that whole energy, because you're sharing that energy. And so we want to help to build both platforms and give both platforms that level of energy as well. So we give thanks for Alan and making that suggestion, and for us to not just have it as a suggestion, but
put it into effect,
making the links to seek to make it a reality. So
yes,
people, we look forward to your support on that level, and we also want to encourage you to tune in to Daniel Atherton's show tomorrow evening. What time you say it is, Banky?
From 7 p.m. 7.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, but look forward to that show.
Yes.
And please do tune in and support Danny and that new show on 2020 Vision Radio.
Yes.
And we see we're logging off here, and Nathaniel Nisbet just joining in, and I don't think he would be a regular listener. If so,
that's what Joni Nisbet, the tractor driver, truck driver. That's Joni there.
The driver. Yeah.
Big up yourself, Joni.
He's saying He's saying this was very interesting. He didn't know so much.
Yes.
So which means that our contribution, Banky, is not going unnoticed.
Appreciate that, Joni.
As you
really
say,
appreciate
usually,
that.
Sometimes you meet people and you don't think they're listening.
Of course.
But they tell you that they're listening.
Yes.
And I encounter
every day
experiences like that too. Sometimes I talk to people on Facebook and so on. Yeah, I don't listen to you,
Of course.
So we give thanks to those who do that, and we hope and pray still that you can share the live, let people know that it's happening. And
of course,
we are ones who are open to agriculture, anything agriculture, as the program says.
Yes.
And one more point, Banky, before I wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to encourage the agriculture department and Nevis in an effort to promote the 25 by 25. Please work on something that would promote and market something that would stimulate and encourage backyard gardeners to contribute to the efforts. I think that would go a long way if something is done from a ministerial point. Yes, you can word them out, but if you can put something tangible in it, whether give them an open market to bring the stuff to agro-processing and you take it from them at a certain rate, or whatever it is that you're going to encourage them to do it and feel a part of it and be able to make something, they themselves would maybe start to think of now getting more involved and becoming more serious in the farming industry. So that would be your contribution to help to stimulate more grow local and more sustainability within St. Kitts and Nevis.
I appreciate you guys tuning in. Yes, and that was a very good wrap up right there. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and for those who, all the callers who called in and those who make all the comments, greatly appreciate. I mean, you guys realize almost 3 hours we're here talking every week, give and take, non-stop. And as someone want to hear politicians come on the radio and talk agriculture for hours, if they can't do that, can't take you serious. That's just reality. I don't want to hear all kind of highfalutin, cussing. My brain can't take stuff like that. My brain is about reasoning. So we hear reasoning, and the callers get involved, and that's what education is all about. Not misleading the people for some to gain and the others suffer. This show is about equality, putting everyone, and just how they swearing to the king and the queen and the heirs and the successors. Well, this show is about for the same thing for those who ain't born yet, who look like us, and the future. That's what we're fighting for. The future generation, which is now. Not 10 years from now, no. Present, time, and past exist. Future, no. That's how we are fighting for. No. That's all we know. We don't know about tomorrow. We know. No. Now is what exists. So we need change now, and we keep pushing it now, and we need to take the mind frame, because we need to encourage our people to get into soil science. You understand? Agronomy and all these different areas in agriculture. Because it's scientific. We got this is where we push it. We have to get this mind frame as if agriculture is for people who just in the low stream and this craziness. And this is the concept we keep pushing. We're out there working, we're doing the road in the sun, doing sidewalks, you see what I mean? Jamming in the sun, doing plumbing in the sun, building a house in the sun. When it comes to farming, hard work, sun to hat. Nonsense. The sun, we thought the sun, we don't exist. Whatever the eye see is inside of us. And until those who taking up this collection start teaching this kind of way, the cosmos is inside of us. Everything that we see, just like the plants, just so you understand, chlorophyll is to plants. It's the same thing. The minerals to us same way. That is a reality. And if you don't start to teach like this, and that's why I say if you're not kind of speak history, and when I ask people, who are you? They can't tell me who they are. Oh, my name is Yason, my name this. Well, then I tell me who you are. Who are you? Still can't answer the question. You see? Because they can't answer the question. That is the point. You must ask yourself, who are you, why you're here, how you get here, and what's your purpose? They can't answer those questions. Those simple questions there. Don't tell me what your name. That name what you're telling me is not yours. That's somebody who would never give you that name. And your name must be originated to identify who you are, your purpose. And that's what history will give you. Till the way history take you back into time of where you're from and what your history was about. A lot of people don't want you to know that because they're scared about it. You see, because the knowledge you're going to find. But research everybody else's history, and then you realize how powerful you are and what they have done, and twist your stuff inside, upside down, bamboozle it, and manipulate you with it. But can't work forever. You see what I mean? That will change your mind frame, because education is self-education. You see, you have to be careful what people feed into you, because everybody's fighting for your mind. And this show going to be awakening other people, because we're going to just keep it original, and we're not going to hide up and butt up anything. Because remember, we are our own sponsors. You see what I mean? And we're going to just speak it how it is. So if you want to be a sponsor of the show, you want to give to the show, it's your choice. I have the problem that, remember, you can't come with, we understand, with
no condition.
No condition.
Nobody can muzzle us.
You can't come with a condition.
The censorship business here.
No, I don't make no sense.
The only censorship is in regards to the respect of the radio station.
But that's all it is.
We're not reaching any radio station will, other than that.
And with that not happening.
No.
You see what I mean? As you realize.
But no, we're not in that kind of level.
Our show is a clean show, and that's all it is.
We're not going on the kind of levels.
Yes.
But other than that,
yes,
we don't want nobody to come tell us that we can't talk about this and we can't talk about that.
Can't happen. That ain't gonna work. So therefore, you can listen, keep your opinions and whatever it is, and you can also call in and voice your opinion. That's fine, but we're gonna keep it original.
And if you sponsor, we're not saying that you cannot sponsor, but just know that you can't come with no conditions.
Well, because there's no reason for the condition, because we're not being biased. Yeah. You see, I don't have a script. We show you about reasoning, and that's all it is. And also, I mean, everyone is invited to be a part of it. All the ministers of government, both St. Kitts-Nevis, all of them is welcome to be a part of this show. Okay? And the 2025 agenda, I'm just watching to see how much of them will come on this show. Because it's an open invitation. You see what I mean? I hear Mr. Evelyn say agriculture going to plant 700 acres of food. I would love to hear how they're going to explain. I want to listen to call the director and give the PS a call to see how this is going to accomplish, how we're going to roll it out. Also, I'm going to give the PS a call in St. Kitts and see when they're going to start rolling out this stuff, because it's important to post, because this is 2024, January done. Because farmers want to know how they're going to get help, what are the stuff in place and all this different stuff. So you really got to get the ball moving.
I seen a comment here, but
again,
a letter look like you're missing from the road. I wonder if it's my brethren bouncing 30, you look like he's saying black hat. I wonder if it's black hat.
No,
black hat Wade. I wonder if it's black hat, but the L missing from
Wade or black hat carry. Wade or Barry. A Barry or Wade, but most likely.
Black is a Wade. A Wade is a Wade. I know he carry.
A Wade carry. The greatest chef.
Yeah, man,
Black Hat Calypso, big up yourself. And if you want the best goat water, check Black Hat.
Bouncing 30.
That's him?
As long as he's here, and I say bouncing 30, he will know. He had a song, Culturama, I think it's Culturama 30. He come with a song, Bouncing 30. So that's a name I call him. So whenever I pass there, even if he ain't see me,
I got you, man.
He will just pass and I will say, Bouncing 30.
Yeah, man, big up Black Hat, you don't know. That's good people right there.
So if it's he, yeah, man,
of course, original, Black Hat, big chef, best goat water, cook food, everything there at Lower Bath Stream right there.
Man, Black Hat is an icon in Bath.
They need to name after him. That's what I mean.
If you don't know Black Hat, you would go there and you might get vexed with Black Hat when he talks to you.
Oh, I'm glad you said so, not me. I'm glad you said
You just, no, I'm telling you.
I'm glad you said so, not me.
You just have to know the guy.
Just personality, nothing.
One of the most helpful, one of the most loving, one of the most caring, person you could deal with is the man Black Hat.
Nah,
but he have his ways. He will tell you, he's not going to sugarcoat to tell you anything.
Navy style. That's it. Strictly original.
But that's me boy. If it's you, me boy, no respect.
You see, Black Hat keep it original. We keep it original here. Same too. We now switch it up. Black Hat now switch it up in the restaurant. We now switch it up.
I'm telling you.
Come
and we need to give these.
Of
we
course.
need to give these people the flowers while they're alive.
Definitely.
And, for the contribution.
They need to write the strip of road where they run the boat, turning down, Black Hat plane or whatever they want to choose it. And then up to the next point, Miss Butler, going up the hill, whoever they want to name it off of, they figure it out.
Right.
But they can name them saying around your passing of this stream, when Hummingbird and Passion Fruit, all kind of crazy name. I wonder who will come up with this name, with naming of some of these areas. But anyway, that's the next time for that again.
Yeah, man. Just so Sunshine is a staple and Pennies. It's just a Black Hat is a staple in Bath.
We have so many young icons and different people around here who contribute, but we're not naming stuff off of them. We just anyway. Guys, definitely next week is end of the month and we have Cannabis Reasoning. Our guest will be Sankofa. So as Yason said, we're linking up with Real Right Entertainment and we'll appreciate
Real Entertainment Network. Real Entertainment Network. Real Right is another Real Right is EK.
Okay.
Real Entertainment Network is Alan and
you have Woto, boy Jason
Real
and
Entertainment
Reese.
Network, REN.
Yes, Real Entertainment Network. All right, beautiful. So until
right. Real Right is EK. EK is Real Right.
Well, big up EK still. You don't know EK is good people and EK is one. You understand? Hold the foot to the fire. So people like us, shows like us, and EKs and others who spoke. You understand? It would be kind of challenging at times, but we just keep it professional. And if you want to be a part of the show, you get in contact with me or Yasan, and we can do it, Zoom or in person, within the studio, in person and stuff like that. So, greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. And Yasan, enough respect every time. Next week we'll come back and start set the show right again with the link up, and we'll keep the link up every end of the month with Real Entertainment Network. Got it?
Yes, that's it.
So that will be every end of the month. We're linking up with Jason, Alan, and Ira, and Reese, and Merge, and that's what it's all about. Networking is good, and then Sankoff will be our first guest, and we continue that forward. So, Yason, enough respect. Big up yourself. Every time.
Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in to 2020 Vision Radio this Tuesday and every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show on 2020 Vision Radio. Tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. So 102.1 FM this Tuesday, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. It's everything agriculture.
For your finest meats and even sweets, do your shopping at Costco. Yeah. Even your juice, your finest produce, do your shopping at Costco. Refrigerators and for your stove, do your shopping at Costco. Come visit us in East and West Anguilla, Charlestown and Gingerland in Nevis, Buckley's and Bird Rock in St. Kitts, Duggins Enterprises in St. Estacia, Cospro Woods Mall, Antigua, Best Buy Supermarket and Department Store, Home Improvements and Hardware. Do your shopping at Cospro for every